I can hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
Hey, what's good, world? Hey, this episode 17 of Permission to Speak Freely. And man, we got a good show for you guys today, man. And I cannot wait to get started today, man. So I know we got a couple things we're gonna start off with, but we do have a guest today, so I can't wait. But let's kick this thing off, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, what you been up to, man?
So I had a long week, man. So you know me, I'm on these ships, man. 'Cause that's what I do. I inspect ships. You know, if I haven't said this like 100 times since I've been on probably every episode, but I had a good week, man. I was on a ship that I'm not familiar with, which is the Variant 1 LCS ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not familiar with that ship at all, but it's different. But I still had fun. I was actually learning stuff myself as I went along. So it was a good ship. Talking to a lot of young sailors. So it was good, man. Good week.
I had a rough time on Variant 1. That was crazy ship. Real rough time. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people. That was like out of every NAM that I've won or was awarded, that was the NAM that just mattered the most, because it was a rough time on a Variant 1. None of the engines worked. Yeah. I don't think.
Man, hey, let me tell you, man. Hey, let me tell you, you go them ships, man. It's rough, man. It ain't rough when it comes to like the material. It's rough because you don't have no sailors, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like three DC men on that whole ship, man. Like, good gracious, man.
We was doing like
then they trying to ask for help all the time. They know people don't want to help nobody, man. People want to be at home with their families. Don't nobody want to come out and help get on the way with you and do all this stuff. So it's hard.
Yeah, I know Variant 1. We was doing like lube oil transfers, man. Like from buckets, man. From the 50-gallon drum to the bucket, carrying a bucket up a ladder and then putting it into the reservoir or whatever. Like we be doing fuel soundings with actual sounding tape, like sounding the tank, man. It was crazy life, man. But I had a good time on there. I met a lot of, good people. So that was definitely great. And then for me this week, I've been in a leader development course, enlisted leader development course. It's been working out pretty well. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good trainers in there. They go over a lot of the personality stuff, a lot of the stuff that like 2 years ago I was thinking that we needed to start talking about in the Navy. Understanding stress, understanding morals, ethics, why people make the decisions they make. They even did some stuff about counseling, like how you should, give counseling versus other ways. The only thing I don't want to happen from that is for us to get stale with some of the things we talk about, because this might be like the fourth training that I've been to so far where we went over those personality traits and stuff like that. So I don't want it. You know how the Navy could get where, mostly any branch of the military could get where they trying to drive a point. So every training you go to, you doing the same thing, or you doing that same thing. Then we go through years and then we start saying that this training, we don't even need it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because all this is, what's up?
I see a lot of times now, man, any kind of training I get, man, we all seem like every freaking training we talking about some kind of mental health or some type of stress. Yeah. Now. Yeah. And I know that's a thing now in the military, so we always talking about that. We kind of like started off with stuff like that now a lot.
Yeah, you can't talk about it enough. I just don't want some of the tactics and some of the exercises to run through every course, whereas like junior sailors like, man, like I did this just last week at this other course. Like we about to do the same thing again. Like it's not even a surprise anymore. And all of these classes came from the petty officer. Well, this training I was getting is a product of the fact that petty officer selectee leadership training had been like kind of went off the rails, and it ain't really what it was supposed to be and stuff like that, right? So we had to figure out something new. All of that stuff is a part of that Sailor 2025 initiative. And,
Now I do like that though, man. I do think sailors from all ranks, man, should be getting some type of leadership as they come up the ranks though. Because I had that, though. I had it was the E4s. When I made petty, I had that training. I went to the E5 leadership training. Then I went to the LPO leadership training. As I came up, we had those type of training. It's the same way, man. It wasn't that many people in there. Yeah. It had mostly like a small group. and it was some good training. It was beneficial.
Yeah.
And everybody there, when you go to that training, people wants to be there instead of, making people go. People who went to the training, they wanted to be at the training, and I think that was a good thing too.
Yeah, cool training. Make it not in the command. Part of the the ELD is like they don't want it to be in the command, so they don't want a junior seller to be talking to a chief that's from the same chief's mess as like the chief that they might have issues with or complaining about and think, hey, I can't even be open, because that like just takes away from anything that training could be about. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we started to go with the petty officer selectee leadership course. It's like, well, who gonna do it? They said that thing went from like 3 days to like 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't even really it's just a check in a box. But outside of that, it's Hispanic American Heritage Month, right? Hispanic American Heritage Month. And it's time for us to read another citation, give our flowers to another hero of ours.
Which means a lot to all of us right now.
Yeah, this one is a little closer to home. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And this is Sergeant Rafael Peralta, right? Date of birth, April 7th, 1979. Place of birth, Mexico City, Mexico. Home of record, San Diego, California. Right? And this is a Navy Cross. Awarded for actions during Global War on Terror, Marine Corps, Battalion, 1st Battalion, Division, 1st Marine Division. Here's the citation. The President of the United States of America takes pride in presenting the Navy Cross posthumously to Sergeant Rafael Peralta, United States Marine Corps, for extraordinary heroism while serving as platoon guide with 1st Platoon Company A, 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, Regimental Combat Team 7, 1st Marine Division, in action against anti-coalition forces in support of Operation Al-Fajr in Fallujah, Iraq on 15 November 2004. Clearing scores of houses in the previous 3 days, Sergeant Peralta asked to join an understrength squad and volunteered to stand post the night of 14 November, allowing fellow Marines more time to rest. The following morning, during search and attack operations, while clearing the 7th house of the day, the point man opened the door to a back room and immediately came under intense close-range automatic fire from multiple insurgents. The squad returned fire, wounding one insurgent. While attempting to maneuver out of the line of fire, Sergeant Peralta was shot and mortally wounded. After the initial exchange of gunfire, the insurgents broke contact, throwing a fragmentation grenade as they fled the building. The grenade came to rest near Sergeant Peralta's head. Without hesitation and with complete disregard for his own personal safety, Sergeant Peralta reached out and pulled the grenade to his body, absorbing the brunt of the blast and shielding fellow Marines only feet away. Sergeant Peralta succumbed to his wounds. By his undaunted courage, intrepid fighting spirit, and unwavering devotion to duty, Sergeant Peralta reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. So that was Sergeant Peralta.
That's good stuff, man. Should be Medal of Honor, right? We all know that. But I also want to add to that, man. We really all have a close connection with Rafael Peralta. Not only just knowing his life story, man. We done met his mom, we done met his sisters, we done met his brother. So we feel real close to Rafael Peralta, man. And rest in peace. And who when you think about these citations, you think about all the stuff we didn't read, man. These guys are no doubt real heroes, man. Like, they doing stuff that I know in the heat of the moment, I don't know what I may do, but when I look back at all these guys and what they done, it's crazy, man, on how they'll put everything before they self, man. So it's crazy.
So we went to his house, and I think a part of the cool part about going to his house, outside of the fact that we were with the Chief Selects that year, they sang his mom, the Marine Corps hymn, stuff like that, and they cooked some food. We had some real good Mexican food, man. Remember that, but I think one of the best things about that was being able to kind of see who he was just as a regular person, right, as a human, and a lot of just a regular dude, man. He just wanted to go do the military, some stuff like that, right? And a lot of times that's the part, that means the most when I read these citations, when you read these citations, that we talking about people that's regular people. Like, like I always say, man, they did the same stuff like us. They played sports in the streets. They, they rode bikes, played video games, did whatever they did. Had their first kiss, like just lived the same normal life as us. Nothing crazy, nothing different. But then they had to call to action. You know what I'm saying? And they had to respond. And that can happen anytime. And then that's the big point that I always try to push when we talk about this on this podcast. Like, that can happen anytime. So if you're a junior seller, senior seller, whatever, that's a part of what we sign up for, is to do things like this in this time. You know what I'm saying? And my other, spiel could be like, if you don't know that, I understand that, I don't want to do that, then, this probably not the best place for you to be. Because at a moment's notice, you could be a hero. You know what I'm saying? So, I was sitting around a bunch of civilians, and they was talking about what branch of service that they should join. And they was talking about joining the one with the least, amount of danger, potential danger. Like, oh yeah, they got desk jobs over there. I'm like, yeah, y'all gotta be careful when you think. I'm not gonna say the branch that they named though. I'm like, y'all gotta be careful when you start thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, shout out to the Peralta family, and much respect to Rafael Peralta, the namesake of the ship that we both served on, right? I mean, and that brings us to our guest. We all served on the same ship. We met on that ship, and then we still are maintaining communication. Another thing about this, and then I'll let you kind of do your part in the intro too, Damon, but I want to say, a couple things. We've been very selective about the guests we have, right? So somebody asked me in my class, it was like, well, who, what kind of guests do you have? And I'm like, our podcast is our podcast. It's not a guest driven podcast. It's for us. So when people come and they listen to the podcast, they come and they listen to us. And, we don't know everything. We probably pronounce half the words we say wrong, and we probably need a lot of training on stuff too. Right. But that was always my goal, was to ask more questions than I could answer. So we had a Master Chief, right? We talked to a Master Chief about advancement. We talked to a Lieutenant JG about, the kind of human relationship between divos and chiefs, and, what it takes to be a divo. We talked to another chief with a unique story about going through the season twice, right? We did talk to another Master Chief of CMC, but the technical difficulties with the episode. We talked to another chief. Well, we were going to talk to another chief. So we've been talking to a whole bunch of khakis, right? Whole bunch of male khakis. It's a little different today, right? We got a woman on the podcast, and E6 and below. So E6 and below. So that's a first in that regard. But that was part of the reason why I always wanted to do this, was so we could be able to have those conversations with non-khakis about like real shit in the military, like real unfiltered, like this, that, because that's where I think a lot of the disconnect could be. So I'm very excited. I don't know if it sounds like it, but I'm very excited about our guest on today's podcast. Before we bring her in, you got anything, Damon?
Yeah, man. Had so many conversations with our guests, one-on-one, in the P ways. It doesn't matter, man. We was always talking about something, and we always had great conversation. So it was easy, to bring our guests on and know we was going to have a good conversation. It don't matter the situation. It don't matter what it was. She was going to talk about it, and she was going to shoot it straight.
Yeah.
So it was, and that was one thing that I like when we have our conversations. She said what she had to say, and then I say what I had to say, but it was straightforward. It wasn't no bullshit. It wasn't nothing like that, man. It was like how we felt about whatever situation it was. So I respect her for that. And can't wait to she put on these khakis soon.
Yeah. Hey, so let's get to it. What's up, FC1? How you been?
What's going on, Senior Chiefs?
How you been? What you been up to?
Getting adjusted to this instructor duty. Definitely different outside of the normal thing that I'm used to doing. And then finding out that I have to instruct my peers is definitely something that was caught me off guard or whatever. So I'm just getting adjusted to being on staff. Every time I've been here, I've been a student, but now I'm staff. So you really can't do certain things that you used to do when you was here as a student. And one thing they harp on is don't fraternize with the students.
Yeah.
So It's different.
I do got a question real quick, just for me. Is how is the uh instructor school now?
See,
Is it was it a good school? I mean, I know when I did it, like what, 10 years ago, a long time ago when I did it, was it anything like different? It's a pretty good school.
I like the school. We had some dope instructors. We had a M&1 Pope, like real cool. He definitely taught us some stuff that I didn't even know you had to do as an instructor, or things that you noticed you did just in conversation with other people, or teaching um, other students, or just day to day conversation. So he definitely taught us about the wickets that you're not supposed to do, and you're teaching stuff that you have no idea about. Like my first one was how to tie figure eight and retrace figure eight. I ain't did that since boot camp.
Yeah.
So
That was a thing though, man. Like I was when I went through it a long time ago. I'm a DC man. I'm always getting up in front of people. I'm always talking, but man, it just felt a little bit different when you get up in front of people and don't really have a real good grasp of the information you're putting out, and then it's different. It's most definitely it's different, man. So good deal.
Yeah. So let's talk vitals real quick. Let's get into some vitals. FC1, Ebony Wilson, right? All right. Where you from?
Augusta, Georgia,
How long you been there?
16 years.
16 years. All right. Let's go to what made you join. Let's go there.
Honestly, I was gonna go to the Air Force. Honestly, I did JROTC in high school, and I was like, I like their uniforms. They were sharp. You know, it wasn't. I thought at the time like a lazy branch. I was like,
Yeah.
I can just breeze through this. But then I talked to people who went to the Air Force, and they like, yeah, you don't want to end up in like Nebraska, or a city that you have no idea where it is on the map. And then I was like, all right.
Hey, we love you, Nebraska. We love
We
you.
love you, but I have no idea how to spell Nebraska. Like, like I don't even know what to do out there. So it was just stuff like that. I didn't want to. I was like, and then I had other friends who went to the Navy, and they talked about all the countries they seen before they was 21. And I was like, all right, that's kind of like what I want to do. I want to see stuff. So honestly, I really just joined to travel. And then I was like, I'm gonna just do these 4 years, and that's gonna be it. And then that 4 turned to 6, and then 6 turned to 10, and now I'm at 16. I don't know. They got a hold on me.
Man, it's a good journey right
It
there.
is.
That's a journey.
It
right
is.
there.
I had fun. So I think I've seen like maybe 30 countries before I even turned 30. So that was cool. Definitely, the experience was an opportunity that is like once in a lifetime.
Your deployment your deployments before the COVID deployment, you were able to see the world. You went many
Yes.
places, right? All right. So now, what happens when you get on this COVID deployment and you find out you're not going any fucking where? Like, how you feel about? Like, how does that feel?
It was disappointing. I was mad because the only reason why I stayed in California was so I could do a Westpac and go to the places that I haven't been. Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, stuff like that. And to go on deployment and not see anything but Japan, in Japan, it was.
The pier.
Yeah.
It was disappointing, but I saved a lot of money. So unlike what I was able to do on my other deployments when I went to 4th Fleet, 5th Fleet, all you did was just spend money because you want to buy everything. But
Yep.
this deployment, I was able to save money, and then something magical happened. I made first. Thank the man.
Congrats.
I wanted to be my time years ago, but I guess that time it was my time. Having dealing with my grandmother, being tested positive for COVID. That's the one who raised me, so it was kind of it was hurtful, painful, but I got other blessings. So like I said, I made first. I was able to come back and buy my dream car. So I wasn't too disappointed.
What's your dream car?
So,
I drive a Mercedes. You know.
man. Chevy.
Again,
I ain't know Chevy. That. Y'all see me out there in that Chevy, man.
I ain't know that first class pay hit like that, man.
Look, I don't even know if it even hit. You know what I'm saying? By the time she bought the Mercedes,
I was good. That was the best time to buy a car. You know, everybody's trying to make a sale. So, $38,000 car, $40,000 car. I got it for $25,000. You know, so
nice. Yeah, good stuff.
So your grandma tested for positive for
she
COVID
did. During deployment. Yeah.
And now, how did that affect you and your grandma? Was close?
that lady, you know what I'm saying, had me since I was 2. She's still raising me, and I'm 35. So.
Okay, so it's good. That's good to hear. Then it's good to know she's still raising you. She's still like it wasn't fatal. But how does that affect you on deployment? Your day-to-day?
I wasn't as motivated to, mentor other sailors. I just honestly was only thinking about her. So my motivation kind of went down. Because I really believe that if I'm not right mentally, then how can I be right for other sailors or just other people in general, you know? So I had to figure out things that I needed to do to kind of get myself back on track, you know, being a brand new first class. So it was a lot of things that I needed to learn, and it was a trying time for those few months.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that grandma's doing good right
she's
now,
still
right?
Kicking.
Healthy.
You know, she good.
Okay. Big shouts out to grandma.
Shout out to grandma. All right, but so back to this deployment now. You're on the deployment, and your history of deployment. You've been a lot of places. You know how it's supposed to be. Now, what you telling that junior seller that's like, hey, what is this? You know, because if I was a junior seller, I'd be like, what the hell is this?
I come to see the world, right?
Yeah, because just like you said, I wanted to do, I always did like the Mad Cruises, and I was in Virginia, and I couldn't wait to come do a Westpac. Like, that was the reason I came to Cali. Like, oh, man, I'm going to go see everybody talk. Yeah, we went here, the Philippines. Like, so I'm like, I can't wait. Then I get over there. We can't predict COVID, but it happens. But I'm just thinking about my junior sellers. Like, man, I joined to see the world. You know what I'm saying, Chief? Like, what the hell is going on now? So, and I'm sure, I mean, do you ever had to deal with one of those kind of conversations with a seller?
Honestly, I did, because you talk about, like you say, you talk about the stuff that you've seen and the stuff that you've done, and for it to not happen, I always look at it as like, hey, I've been through many storms. This storm will pass.
Yeah.
You kind of stick it out, which is good and bad advice, but I always look at it as like bad times don't last forever. You will get that time to see stuff, to enjoy the Navy. Even though it took me years to enjoy the Navy, when I finally did enjoy the Navy, like it was like a whole different, set of eyes.
I think the hardest part about selling that to a junior seller, and I don't even like the whole term selling it, but I think the hardest part about selling that to a junior seller is they never saw the other side. They never saw I've been here. I've been to Rome, I've been all these places, and it's like you telling them that, and they joined because of that, but COVID hit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they like, yo, this shit is bullshit. Like, yeah. I mean, and that's the truth, right? We're not gonna lie, right? Some people join to see the world. You know what I'm saying? And then the moment that you get the opportunity to, it's like, oh, we got this port, COVID hit, all these ports canceled. So then you like, well, hey, trust me, I promise you, like, deployment is fun. Deployment, like, the funnest time you have in the Navy.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. I was selling it. I was one of those guys, man. Like, it was hard for me to sell, man, because you already, like, every day I'm talking to some sailor somewhere about why they should stay in the Navy, right? At first, I'm like, this, some of your benefits, some of your this. I'm talking about this stuff all the time. And you're right, what comes up? I want to travel and do this stuff. So when you get out there, ain't nobody doing, we ain't doing anything, man. We freaking pull up to a pier every now and then, right? So it's kind of hard to sell it, man, but the thing about it is you can go back and you can talk about your sea stories and the things that you done and say COVID ain't gonna last forever, but shit, I don't know about that now. You know what I mean? But But yeah, man. So it's one of those things that's a hard, man. You got to most definitely dig deep and bring out all your leadership skills when it comes to trying to keep sailors motivated every day. When you're out to sea for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, man, it's hard. And then, like she said, man, like people having family issues, people having all this stuff that we cannot reach out and touch them or anything like that, man. So it's hard, man.
Yeah, I mean everything happened on deployment. Like everything.
Yeah.
Like my car, but like my first deployment, like my car got repossessed, like from the cops or something like that. Like the cops took my car from like my brother. Like everything happened. When you're on deployment, everything happened. Like people, somebody slap your mom. Like damn, you like this wouldn't happen if I was home. You put your hands on my mom out here. Like so, like everything kind. This dude was just telling me a story, in school, about something happened, man, to his mom. I don't want to get into it, but he had a deaf in the family, and they wouldn't let him lead the ship. But it was immediate family, like mom, dad, kind of immediate family. But FC1, you said something that I caught. You said it took you a while to be happy with the Navy.
Yeah,
right?
it took me a minute, only because of the lack of authority that I had when I first came in. Like you said, like ain't nobody gonna talk to you crazy, like the whole mama thing. But that's the type of mentality I had when I came in. Like I'm big on respect. Like if I give it, then it must be given back. And some people just their level of disrespect or respect was different, and I just wasn't gonna let nobody talk to me crazy. So I had issues with my attitude, fighting. I questioned a lot of things at the wrong time, and it came off as disrespectful. So it was just an adjustment. So I wasn't happy with the Navy until, like, honestly, I had been in the Navy about 4 years before I even like got to be happy with the Navy. So yeah, I had a little bumps in the roads. My first.
Yeah, but hey, you know what though? You pointing these things out, that's gonna even make it even more like joyful when coming through the ranks and you retire, because you had your trials and tribulations and you know where you came from. That's the biggest thing for me, man. When you know where you came from and you get to this certain place where you at, and you can look back and say, man, I did that. And then all them junior sailors that's in your shoes, trust me, same thing. They've been in the Navy a year and they got all these same, like, maybe have an attitude or maybe don't want to do this and do that. Guess who could be able to talk to and be able to relate to them? And that's you. You'll be able to relate that to that situation. So that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I went to one of my last commands, and I ran into one of the civilians, right? Because, the civilians, they work there forever. You could, like, live 2 lives, and you go back to civilians still at the command, right? So I'll go to the command, and civilian like, hey, you still in the Navy? I'm like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't I be? Like, I'm senior chief. Like, I'm doing all right? He was like, yo, when I last talked to you, all you talked about every day was getting out the Navy. He's like, you hated it. Like, all you wanted to do was get out. How the hell you still in? I'm like, for real? I'm like, I didn't like it. He's like, you hated it. Like, you just wanted to get out. And it's crazy because I'm like, yo, I don't even remember those days. And it's I had to be confiding in this dude, right? Like, yo, I don't even remember those days. I was going through some of my old Facebook messages because I do that sometime, right? And I was talking to this girl about, yo, should I stay in? Should I get out? Like, should I stay in? I was like, yeah, I can't believe I was, just for where I am now, I can't believe
right?
that I was, yeah. But look, so that brings me to another question, FC1. In those dark days or those dark moments or those moments where it kind of took you a while to kind of understand that, all right, this is not the right time to say this or whatever like that, what was the worst, like, what's the furthest point down that you actually hit? Like, what's the worst thing that happened to you in that, like, kind of growing phase? Like, was it an NJP?
Honestly, it took me going to the brig, and you get that phone call, and I'm calling my mom, and it says, you have a collect call from an inmate, and yada yada. I was like, oh, dude, like, like, I'm now an inmate. I've never been in any legal trouble outside of the military. And then, to get that, I was like, man, like, okay, I gotta get it together. And then, people that I'm in the brig with, they're like, telling me all their stories, like, I drugs, money scams, stuff like that, like adultery or assault and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, like they're like, what you did? And I was like, I just disrespected a commanding officer. Like, got in the fight. They like, you getting out? They kicking you out. I was like, nah, they actually keeping me in the Navy. The only one in the brig that is like going back to their command. So I was like, okay, evidently they see something in me that I didn't see in myself or I couldn't see in myself. So I had to get it together because everybody's not afforded the opportunity to go to mass multiple times, go to the brig. Like, we're not talking about bread and water. No, I went to the brig. Like, I was in there for days, like, in the brig, and actually like having to obey. I shouldn't even say obey because that sounds so bad, but their rules and their regulations and stuff, like I had to just get on their page. Like, it was no questioning anything,
Right, it's like, yo, you ain't want to listen to that set of rules.
Another set.
Another set.
You know what? I don't know if this would happen to you or not, FCA1. But I remember they used to have a program like that where people used to get in trouble and they used to send them to the brig for like 30 days.
Yeah, it's like.
But it wasn't bread and water. You're right. It wasn't bread and water, but it was like they had like Marines there and people like that was in charge of them. I remember they used to happen back in the day.
It was like a hardcore boot camp like that they went through, whatever. So it was. It was. I was like, man, it's crazy. Not even being able to like have shoestrings in your boots. I was like, what is this? Like, like where am I at? So it took that, and then once I got back and then got to my next command, it took my senior chief to say, like, look, I don't give a shit what happened when you was in school, all that stuff. Like, everybody gets a clean slate. And so once I got that clean slate, I took full advantage of that clean slate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How important is that, man? That clean slate. That's important.
It is, because even though you get there, people know your story. Because I get to the boat, I'm not a third class, so they know you got in trouble. They know everything about you before you even step foot on the ship. And for him to not judge me, that made it even a little bit better.
But you know what though, for me though, when I know people's stories like that, I take it to heart though. Because I want that sailor to be great. I want that sailor to do good stuff. So I maybe lean towards like see him in the P-way or something and talk to him a little bit more. When I'm talking to sailors, because I know they may have a troubled background. So I'm always keeping them focused, keeping them in, what they need to shoot for and things like that. So that's good that senior chief, sits you down and had a conversation with you. It's good stuff.
Yeah, but the other side of that coin is true too. A lot of time a sailor get in trouble and they don't feel like they have anybody to, talk to, go to, man. A friend, I'm going to call him a friend. He's a junior sailor, but he's a friend of mine. He called me. Something happened. I don't want to really get too much into it, but something happened. And it's not true, right? And I know it's not true because I know him. I know how he is as a person. But soon as, the information came out, it got to do with your analysis type stuff, right? Soon as the information comes out, the command, this dude's like the best, one of the best mapped guys, seller of the year kind of guy, seller of the quarter, all this stuff. Soon as the information comes out, the command just kind of looks at him different, like straight up, and he feels like that from CMC to, different chiefs in the mess and stuff like that. He feel like I'm not even the guy. I can't even go to my CMC who just gave me seller of the year last year or whatever. And he just felt the ban. And when he called me, he's just, for a few reasons, probably because I'm an ADCO, and then another thing because I was, a mentor of his a little bit. But when he called me, I could just tell he was hurt by the fact that he wasn't getting support. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't think we got to do that. You know what I'm saying? We had somebody who popped on a test on a ship. The ship that I was just on, we had somebody that popped on a test. Man, I never treated that dude no different than the way I treated him before he popped on the test. He popped on the test.
Yeah.
I mean, I never treated him no different, man. People don't, when we always talk about, we stress mental health. I think I told this story about the one dude from my last, for like a few commands ago, who he had an ARI, went on restriction, had another ARI, got in the car with his senior chief, Senior chief start blasting them. As soon as they get in the car, like, you got another 2 ARIs, you stack the deck, boom, boom, boom. Takes my man home from jail, wherever he was at. My man commits suicide. You know, he goes home and he commits suicide. You know, it's a time and a place. And I think that when people make these mistakes, they need the process is the process, FC1. You know, that's how I look at it. The process is the process.
Yeah.
And that's how I talk to a lot of junior guys. Like, if you get in, like, even on a ship, like, I'm going through, like, a DRB, I'll be the first person after the DRB that's going to probably come find you. But if you get in trouble, you get in trouble for whatever your offense is. You know, from that point on, it's time for us to start working on you getting better, that offense not happening again, and you spreading the message throughout the ship. Hey, let's not do this. Because that's the biggest influence you could have. And that's the question I'm about to ask you. When that it was a senior chief who helped you out?
Senior Chief Wilson. I never forget. I can't forget that.
Right. When that senior chief helped you out, how did that affect you? How did that affect you and you wanting to be in and maybe you going to another seller like, yo, this ain't as bad as you think it is?
It helped a lot because honestly, you only need one person. Like, I don't need a whole team. It just took that one person to actually hear me out. You know, even with him being a senior chief, you know, and me just getting there, like he like I said, he just didn't place judgment. He gave me the chance to like be that sailor and that person that he knew I could be. You know, he's like, hey, like I'm gonna give you the opportunity to show me until you show me otherwise. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm always have your back. And that's kind of like, that's what it was for me. It literally just took him. When I was in school and got into all that trouble, I didn't have that support system. I didn't have that one person to come and say like, hey, all right, you know, we gonna get through this or whatever. So I understand like the whole going through mental depression, suicidal ideations. Like, I went through all that. I thought about going UA, like all that. I just knew that this was something that I couldn't do. I just couldn't do the military.
Mm-hmm. So this was C
school.
Okay, C school. So before the first ship.
And now I'm back in the same place that gave me all those like anxieties. Now I'm back here instructing, you know, other sailors. You know, so it's like crazy how it works.
Yeah, man.
So you found a way to get sent to the brig before you hit your first damn ship.
Well, so.
She was just getting out the way. Man.
Well, I mean, it wasn't, honestly, the reason why I did go to the brig was because I chose court martial. I didn't choose NJP anymore. Because it's one of those things where, you know, NJP, like, they don't care about evidence, they don't care about facts. Like, they're like, hey, you in trouble, you're a trouble sailor, like, I'm gonna get rid of you. But it was things that, you know, that was going on that and that I was being accused of that I didn't do. So I was like, I don't even want NJP. Like, I want court martial. And they was shocked that I even wanted court martial because I read a lot of instructions. I know what I'm entitled to. I know what I'm not entitled to. So I was like, nah. I was like, I don't want this. Let me go to court martial and I'll let them, you know, decide whether I'm guilty or innocent. And so when I went to court martial, it was I had all my evidence, all my facts, statements, everything. The thing that I did get charged with was what I admitted to because I've always been honest. I did do this, you know. So it was like, all right, you know, well, you know, you seem like a good sailor, like you #1 in your class. Uniform is always good to go. Inspection ready, like, you know. So it's like we just have to get that attitude lined up with the Navy, and you know, I'm gonna award you 18 days. I went to the brig for 18 days, but I only did 15 because I got off for good behavior.
My man said award you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna award you.
and that's what that program was for. It was like for like junior sailors to, you know, kind of like straighten them up or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because you coming into the military, whoever you were before you came in, right? So whoever you was, whatever kind of rules you followed, whatever tactics you followed, that's who you were. You go to boot camp, right? You go to boot camp. Boot camp changes some of that stuff. But then you go to A school. And then A school, you kind of free. Like, you know, you could kind of back mold yourself to be who you were a little bit, you know, with some of what you learned from boot camp, but a little bit from it happens so much now where I get a seller, you know, new to the ship and some shit that I'm like, yo, y'all ain't learned that in boot camp. like I'm sure, Chief. I don't know how to shave. But y'all ain't learn how to shave in boot camp. like what we doing? Like I don't know how to make my rack. I thought they taught y'all that shit in boot camp, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but you are who you are. You go through what you go through. Boom, you hit the brig. You go to your first ship. You got the senior chief that really care about you. How's that experience on that? What kind of ship is it?
Destroyer. I was on DDG.
Okay, DDG. You're FCA,
Yes.
right? FCA, right? All right. So how's that first ship experience? What on a personal side? Are you already establishing a family at that point? Single? What we doing on on that side?
Oh, so when I got to the ship, I was single. I wasn't married.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. Like everything. I don't know. It's like everything that I thought about how the Navy was supposed to be was like what it was. So I developed friendships. Biggest thing is you don't burn bridges. So I developed those bonds, and people to this day, and that's 14 years ago, and I still talk to them. I got to see stuff, things that I was like, man, if I get out the Navy, it's gonna be on my own accord, not because I couldn't cut it. So, and my biggest thing is I just didn't want to fail. So, I didn't want to be one of those ones like, you leave home, you graduate, you leave home, and then you don't cut it, and then you end up moving back home. I was like, man, that was my phobia. I was like, I do not want to be that person,
That was my phobia too. That was my phobia too. I don't know about you, Damon, but I ain't want to be the dude in his blues walking through the streets of Philly. like, yo, he back. Welcome home, Roscoe. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
I didn't. That was my biggest. It's like, yo, he did this. He left. It was a big deal. We threw a party for him. Now he's back and he ain't doing shit. He back working at Walmart, or Kmart or whatever like that.
Or when you come back, you say, "Oh, I'm leaving in 6 months," and then you end up being there a year. You know what I'm saying 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mom basement.
Yeah, man.
That was one of my biggest things. That might have re-enlisted me the first time. Just that idea alone might have re-enlisted me the first time. Would you say that?
I wasn't going back Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't happening, man. It just wasn't happening.
Did you said you knew it was 20 when you joined, right, Damon? Did you know?
I wouldn't say. I think my first couple years, probably about 3-4 years, I probably knew it was 20. Probably
okay.
3-4 years in.
What about you?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even when I got to my first ship and I was good and excelling, being an EP sailor and all that, I was like, ain't no way I'm doing this for 20. There's no way, And then when I did my first sea time in my first enlistment and I was afforded the opportunity to go to shore duty, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to shore duty. Ain't no way I did 4 deployments in 5.5 years and did all this stuff and don't go to shore duty. I'm going to shore duty. So I was like, I feel like I've earned the right to go to shore duty, and that's what I did. So that's why I stayed in, and it worked out for me. And then that's when I got married, and I was like, man, I can't take this family back to Georgia. I got a family to provide for. Now it's different. So I was like, then I re-enlisted again, and that's how I ended up on Rafael Peralta.
Okay, where was shore duty at?
So they gave me the option to go back to Great Lakes. And I'm from Georgia, so I don't do the snow. So I was like, or San Diego to teach BMD. So ballistic missile defense. So I was like, all right, I never been to San Diego, so I went over there. It was different going to San Diego because now I'm super far away from my safety net. I always want to be close to Georgia. I felt like that was my safety net. I can't be too far from home. I got to be able to get home if something happened, But once I got to San Diego and then I experienced that culture, that lifestyle, I honestly didn't even want to leave San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego like heaven. San Diego like heaven on earth, man. You lucky, Damon.
Yeah, you lucky. You very, very blessed.
You lucky, man. It's look, man, we got I think I was talking about this on a podcast. We got the Maryland customer service just went down. We went to Home Depot. I got a hammer in my hand. They like, well, why the fuck you here? Like, I'm here to buy shit. Like, you work here. Like, rig me up, right? So yeah. San Diego is like heaven, man. Customer service is great. It's a million beautiful cities in that one place. It's just a great place, man. You know, every borough or whatever every part of San Diego is like amazing.
Yeah, man. Like,
if we could afford, what's up?
Like 2-3 days ago, man, it was still 100 and something though, man. You know, that's too much for me, man. You know, now it's like,
I'm happy. It's getting cool now. I'm happy about that. Like we was outside yesterday. We had the fire burning. It's a little chilly, but we had the fire up. I like that part. I like that part of being back on the East Coast, and of course I'm around family. All right, so you want to be around your safety net. Your safety net is kind of, and I felt the same way, right? Because my first duty station was in Virginia, so I was able to go back and forth. To see my family and stuff like that. And then my next duty station was in Annapolis. So still, now I'm closer to my family because I'm in Maryland. After that, it was like San Diego. And I knew, because this is just the way I think, I knew some major people in my family were going to pass away when I got to San Diego. I just knew it. Or I thought they were going to do it when I was overseas. But I'm like, when I'm far enough away from my family, that it's going to be hard to just move back and forth. Because from Maryland, I could just drive home on the weekend. I'm going to start losing people. And I lost my grandmas. I lost my aunt. I started losing people, of course. So when you get into that position where you actually do lose kind of a close geographical contact with your safety net, now what's the pros and cons of that? What was the pros and cons of that for you?
So, I mean, for me, I haven't lost anybody like that. So I'm kind of grateful for that. But just not being able to just pick up and just go, where when I was in Virginia, going to Georgia was like a 7-hour drive. You can literally go to work on Friday and still be there Friday night. So for me, that was just always just a scary thing for me, just not being able to just get there in time. Now I got to worry about booking flights. Is my command going to let me go? Like if I do fly, am I going to be back? Monday morning for work, so that was the thing that kind of was my con. I don't think there's no pros for that. That was the only thing I thought about my first few years being in San Diego.
Yeah, I think for me, what it did for me was it gave me like a sense of independence, like a little bit more. Now, mind you, I'm a first class. About to be a chief. First, I was in San Diego for like 2 years, and I made chief, right? But it gave me a sense of like, I don't got to be this close to my mom. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to moments notice, all of this to happen. Like, and we could still be close. We could have a bond. I think one of the things that affected me was some of my family members that I know that I would see if I was close to were like deprived of like other people seeing them. That was around them. You know what I'm saying? In the same city. Like, I'm like, damn, grandma, like, you in the same city as these people, and they not going to see you. If I was around, I'd, be able to see you. And that kind of gave me a better sense of what family is, what friendships are, how to keep in, communication with people and stuff like that. Because that shit can be hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to find people that you can latch on. That's why when I talk to you, when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, when I talk to you, I'm like, hey, I'm here. We as close as we could be. Whatever you need, I'm here. And that's the truth. Same thing, me and Damon, like, this is when you find like people that you could keep in contact with, you have to, especially when you see your family and people own families not doing that, with each other. Yeah. And sometime in the military, we become family.
Most definitely. It was a little bit different for me though, man. I've been independent a long time. Like even from the beginning, man. Like I don't know if I told this on the podcast before, man, but I graduated like high school, just me. You know what I mean? So I was trying to get out, and I freaking, been independent, the whole time. Now I knew, and one other thing about, like I had like you said, I moved, my first duty station was here in San Diego, the first one. Mm-hmm. And as I came in the Navy, my family members that did pass away, like my mom passed away, my grandma passed away, but I think the difference was I never had no one pass away that I didn't know already. Like my mom was sick, for a long time. So my mindset was like, I know this is about to happen. You know what I mean? My grandma was 94, 95. So I knew eventually, you know what I mean, this is going to happen or whatever. So I think that was a difference too, because I know if like if I didn't know all of a sudden my mom just passed away, like I don't know what. I mean, I'd be like that'd be like a
Yeah.
devastating, type deal. But I knew ahead of time, and I always wanted to be independent. I always wanted to go, and my brothers them, cause we close, there's 6 of us, and we all close. And I remember them telling me, man, go and don't look back type stuff, man. Just go, get out of here and don't look back, do your thing. And I remember them telling me that stuff, man. So that's what I did, man. Like even right now, me and the wife trying to plan something to go back home now, man, because I haven't seen them like freaking 4 5 years. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about how time flies, man, and how mentally we locked in on some other stuff and we forget about, you know what I mean, things like that, man. You may call them, we talk on the phone, we do things like that, but seeing them, man, like it's crazy. I don't know how long.
Dude, I've only been home for a funeral. The last 3 times I've been home has been for a funeral.
Same.
Right?
Yep.
But we got FC1 on here, and one of the things I do want to talk about. So 5 days ago, right, I was on Instagram, and Barack Obama posted, and me and you talked about this, one-on-one when I was talking to you earlier this week. Barack Obama posted this 5 days ago. 10 years ago today, we repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Today, our military is stronger and our country is safer because patriotic Americans no longer have to live a lie in order to defend the country they love. The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell allowed, then he had a picture of 2 Marines. It says the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell allowed these 2 Marines to be true to themselves while serving in our military. Listen to that story at the link in my bio. So he was talking about 2 Marines, but he was also celebrating that this week is the anniversary, actually, the 10-year anniversary of repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And this was, of course, something that we knew we were going to talk about at some point soon here. But you are LGBTQIA plus, right? If I make sure I say it, the right way, I get myself in trouble. But and you went through the Navy, the military went through a few different. When you joined, it was Don't Ask, Don't Tell,
Yes.
right? And then how was that?
It was, how can I put this? It was different because like growing up, I was always like, I don't even want to say closeted, but I've never been just open with my life, just period, So for me to come into the Navy, I was like, okay, I get a little bit more freedom. I can like live my life how I want to live it and not be judged. So then to get into the Navy, thinking that I had that freedom, and then that's when they like, oh, you gotta keep what you do outside of the Navy under wraps. So it wasn't. I wasn't so much frustrated. I was just pissed off because, like I told you, why am I sitting hearing about a heterosexual couple and what they do with their spouses, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, wives, husband, but then I can't share, what I did, with my significant other, So I was just pissed. I was just pissed off about the whole thing because at the end of the day, we joined the military. It was a choice. So who I lay with, why does that matter? It doesn't stop me from doing my job. It doesn't stop me from defending the country. So I was just a little bit more aggravated and pissed off because some people, to think that some people are still uncomfortable with what somebody else do in their own off time or whatever I don't know, it just blew my mind.
Yeah. Did you ever go through anything based off of your sexuality or anything?
Honestly, no, because like I said, I just never broadcast my personal life. I had a very close group of people who I would let into my circle. I'm a people person, but not really a people person. It's certain stuff that I just don't talk about because that's just my own personal preference. So I didn't go through anything. I didn't have like, oh, you're doing this because you're, she like girls or she whatever. I didn't go through all that except for like, you have some dudes that are just, they disrespectful, so, they try to shoot they shot and they miss, like.
Yeah, dudes
Yeah,
are
it's
still
like,
try to
like,
shoot at a
wow,
girl even if they
like,
know.
they say, you too pretty to like girls, and it's like, well, why you putting a label on me? Like, I have nothing against guys, I just don't like you. It's like one of those things. Like, I'm very, I'm very picky with the selection.
Yeah,
Like, oh, hit with that.
yeah,
So
Oh,
they get
okay.
mad,
yeah,
they get mad, and I hate the word dyke. I hate the word faggot. It's certain things like it doesn't matter. Like, I just don't like that. So you get dudes to be like, oh, she a dyke anyway. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
yeah,
like, I don't know, but they just mad. They just in their feelings. But that's it. I laugh
yeah,
that off, like, and then you go and then you talk to their homeboy, and now they feel some type of way. Oh, they like, seeing such a dyke now, like, you, what is wrong with you? I don't know. That's just that immature
yeah,
stuff. But as far as like the leadership concerned or whatever aspect of it, I've never went through anything like that. But I did have, and I'm not gonna say his name because y'all know him. I did have this senior chief. He assumed that I was messing around with this young lady on the ship, and he would sit in the hangar and be like, "Hey, Wilson, what's that like? I want to, I know you know." I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are you assuming that
yeah,
I know what
Oh my
he's like,
goodness.
I want to know what that's like. So I'm gonna just live through you. I got a wife, so I can't be out here like that. But I'm just asking you. And I'm like, man, Saint Chief, like,
That's
stop,
funny.
stop coming to me. Like, that was weird. That shit was weird. I was like,
Oh
you
my
just
goodness,
assuming,
that's
you just
crazy.
assuming that I know, what that's like because me and her are cool, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, he's like, y'all cool, I see you with IT1 all the time. Like, stop it, stop it.
So how did it feel when they repealed? How, like, actually 10 years ago when they actually did repeal the Don't Ask, Don't Tell? How was that for you?
I was happy for more so for the I won't say males, because males struggled, with that. So I was happy with the males. I mean, it wasn't like I said, it didn't really make it no difference to me, as far as like my lifestyle, because it wasn't like I'm about to be out here waving a rainbow flag and, oh, look at my girlfriend or look at my wife. I'm out, nah,
Yeah,
But I was happy that I was able to bring my wife at the time on the ship and not have to, like, oh yeah, this is my friend, or whatever, like,
yeah. It's almost like you
yeah.
hiding
So it's like,
apart.
okay, I was
Yeah,
able
you like,
to bring her into my world that she had no idea about. The only thing she knew about was what I would tell her when I would come home. But the fact that I could like, bring her and show her, and we can on duty, she can bring me food, I can give her a hug, and what I'm saying, stuff that you want to
yeah.
do when you're with somebody, So that was definitely something that I enjoyed to do.
Yo, imagine that conversation, man. Like, like, hey, we got this going on at my command. Well, can I come? Yeah, you could come, but when you come, we can't act like we in a
That's crazy
relationship. We
right there,
gotta.
right?
I can't imagine that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so a couple of episodes ago, FCA1, we had a Damo presented a question to me about LPOs. Right. So we had this scenario where you had a LPO that was in like 10 to 12 years, and he's coming to the ship, and you have this 4 year first class, which is the LPO, and he's a hot runner, future, right? So the question was asked, who should be the LPO once the 10 to 12 year first class get to the ship, and that was the entire scenario right there. So I said, I think the senior first class should be the LPO, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, right? So people was going in on me, and I'm going back, and we going back and forth, and all this type of stuff. So I would love to hear your opinion on that same scenario, with not even having a lot of facts, just know a senior guy is coming.
Well, so you're only giving the first class opportunity because he's a senior first class, because he's a senior, but you have no problems
That's
with your LPO being an E5.
no
So
problems
then,
with him at
No
all.
problems
so
at
why
all.
are we debating this? If you have, if something's not broken, why are you trying to fix it? So I
Okay.
mean,
So are you throwing that question back at me? Because I like this. You throwing that back at me, right?
yeah,
Okay.
it's not
Good.
broken. It's not broken. So this second
I
class
feel
is
you.
not giving
Good.
you any reason except for this first class coming, and they got 12 years in, and your LPO is a 4-year second class.
No, the
No, first
LPO is
class.
first class too.
First class.
The
First
LPO is
class.
first class.
It's first class.
They
Oh, they
both first
both first
classes.
classes. Man, get up,
Yeah.
Stop playing with me.
Okay.
Stop playing with me.
So
So you don't even know
okay.
this
So
dude.
so
Cause you threw the question at me. So I'm about to.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
you
Go ahead.
have no. So you don't know anything about this senior first class except that he been in the Navy
Nah.
12 years. You
Yep.
work
Yeah.
this other first class who's been in the Navy 5 years, whatever. Like he's worked for you. He's working for you.
Yep. He been grooving
Stop
them.
playing
Yep.
with me, senior.
Okay. So let me say this though. So this happened to me.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you know this or not. This happened to me.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Think about it. Think about the scenario. I had I ain't gonna say no name, but think about it. I had a DC1.
Okay.
You know, good shit, hot. What happened when the senior HT1 came? Right, it happened.
It's not right though.
Right.
Okay.
But check this out. But check this out now. Right. This is how I look at it.
Okay.
I feel like if in the same scenario, right, same scenario, I feel like if I did my job correctly, this senior first class wouldn't have came to the ship. This senior first class got a billet to come here as a first class. This other guy that's here, he probably filling a third class billet or a second class billet, right? This guy is coming here to be the LPO. Now, if I do my job, guess what? I will move him up to be taking a first class billet, then I wouldn't get that first class, and then I'll be getting a third class or a second class. Do that make any
your fault? So it's your fault.
No, that's what I'm saying. But in my scenario, it wasn't like that. It was an HC and a DC.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I'm talking about this a scenario. They ain't got nothing to do with me. You trying to throw it on me? They got nothing to do with me. They ain't got nothing to do with me.
Done my job,
I'm just saying the scenario of a senior guy coming in. He's coming in to fill that billet. He went to his shore duty. He or she went to their shore duty, did their time. Now they coming back to be the LPO at sea, right? Because that's in their chop, in a ladder of coming back to be the LPO at sea. Now,
Hey,
this
Damon,
guy.
let's mix it up. Let's do it like this.
Okay.
Do it like this. FC1.
Okay.
Let's say you the junior first class. Like you say you the junior first class. Been in the seat, not doing nothing wrong, doing what you're supposed to do, right? And then you find out it's another first class coming. I got more time than you, but you've been doing good, tracking EP, right? But another first class coming got more time than you, your senior chief, and somebody don't know, this person at all. And they tell you that, like, hey, because you did say that, right, Damon? You prep them. You already let them know it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, what's gonna happen? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they tell you that, like, hey, when this new first class come, and I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. So I want you to answer those questions I asked. So is this new first class come? You're gonna, get bumped down, and this person's gonna take over LPO. Thank you for what you've done, but you're not gonna be the LPO in about 2 months when the new first class come. The first question. I mean, did I say anything wrong?
No, this is the way you said it. I would have said it like that. Thank you for your service, but you're blah, blah, blah. I would have said it like that. But
All right,
yeah, okay,
all right,
it's
all
good.
right. So
Yeah.
the first question I have for you, right, specifically, is what will you say back to that senior chief? That's the first question.
What I'm gonna say?
My next question is how would you actually feel? My first question is what you're gonna say, but my next question is gonna be like how are you gonna actually feel? So the first question is what you're gonna say.
This behind closed doors, right?
It's you and the senior chief.
Me and the
Yeah,
senior
yeah.
chief?
Behind closed doors. Yeah.
So if it was me and if Senior Chief Leggins was the one to come to me, I'd be like, "What the fuck you mean? Like somebody gonna come and replace me, and you don't even know if they gonna be a fucking good leader?" This is how I'm talking to you. You don't even know if this guy or girl is gonna be, you know what I'm saying, like meet like your standards as a LPO. You ain't even gonna do a trial run. You ain't none of that. You just gonna automatically fire me. So now, okay, I want to be a team player. Now, where does that leave me? Like, you gonna send me back to be a maintenance man? You gonna send me back to be a works in a soup? Like, so like now we're backtracking. Like, I've hit all those blocks. I've done all that. So how does that look for me when it comes time to for evals, when it comes time to like my growth, my professional growth? Because all people gonna look at is what's on paper. You're the only one that's gonna know the story, you know what I'm saying, and how it played out. But my professional growth, like what does that do for me? Where does that leave me?
No.
That'll be something that I will ask.
Now, how you gonna feel?
Oh, how I'm gonna feel?
I think I'm gonna hold you down, David. I got 2 more questions. I think I'm gonna hold you down. Like, so let me cook for a second. How you gonna feel, FC1?
I don't even want to fucking play for your team. I don't even want to be a part of your team, Senior Chief. Like, that's how I feel. Like, fuck out of here. Like, how you gonna tell me, like, you know, I'm your all-star. I'm your starting 5.
Yep.
Like, I come through
MVP.
every night putting in points. And then you gonna get some fresh legs that you don't even know if they can make a free throw, and you gonna replace me. Like, like, nah, that's what we doing. That's how I feel. Like, damn, like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, you know, like, while I'm over here, you know, busting my ass and, you know, doing everything that I'm supposed to do to maintain my title.
All right,
and you just gonna take it away.
So here go my next thing. I'm gonna toss it back to Damon, but I think I got Damon. I think I'm gonna hold him down. All right, let's say you that senior first class, coming from a command that you just can't. You coming like you've been busting your ass. You know you've been busting your ass. You worked your way up to do, you know, what you got to do. You stood every watch. You got every qual. You did everything you're supposed to do. I would imagine your outlook for your next place would be, I'm about to go back to leading. I'm about to go back leading. I've been leading for this X amount of years. I'm not about to go somewhere and play the back seat. Maybe you got chief on the horizon, something you trying to make. So you know, all-star first, just more time. You've been killing it. You go to a command and you get you meet the LCPO, and the LCPO tell you, like, I know you've been kicking ass everywhere else you've been. I know you got time in, and I know chief is on the horizon for you. But unfortunately, you not going to get to be the LPO for this division, because I got a new LPO, not even really eligible for chief yet or nothing like that, but they've been kicking ass. So they're gonna be the LPO for the time being, because they already been kicking ass, and I'm not about to shake up my division like that by introducing you as the LPO, even though I know career you've been tracking this shit, kicking ass. What do you say?
The first thing I'll ask is, you know, well, I don't want to rub my chief or my LCPO the wrong way, because I just got there, and I don't want him or her to think that I don't want to be a team player. So, in that sense, like, you know, I'll make that known, and then, okay, well, you know, how long has this first class been an LPO? Is it something that's already on their eval? Like, because if I don't have it and they already have it, like they've been LPO for like a year, 2 years, or whatever the case may be, then I'm going to ask, like, well, when is going to be my turn? Like, I want my turn. Like, even though I'm a hungry ass sailor and just a person in general, like, and I love being competitive. So of course I'm gonna do what the fuck I gotta do to outshine this first class. You know, we supposed to work together.
Yeah.
But little do they know, like, I'm coming for that spot, you know. So I'm going to try to get in Senior's back pocket, like, hey, see what I gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Like, can I shadow this, you know, this LPO or whatever, or just basically like, when is it going to be my turn? Because I do want to have the opportunity for it to be my turn. Okay,
so you coming in there, you got respect for his decision, but you know that you're going to work to prove yourself capable of doing that job, pretty much, right?
Yeah, because I don't want to rub off the wrong, like my energy to literally a senior chief or a chief that I just met. Like, this is the first time me meeting him, and I don't want to come off as like, fuck, yo, like, now it's just all about her. You know, she's not thinking about the team. or whatever. Like I definitely want it to be known that I'm a team player and I'm willing to wait my turn, but I ain't gonna wait forever.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like how I am. But best believe I'm gonna be bugging. Like, all right, like you gonna rotate. I would hope that he would have some sort of plan. I don't like to see where LPOs, because they're senior, they stay LPO for 4 years, 5 years. Like, I really do think it needs to be some sort of rotation. Even if they're not doing anything wrong, it needs to be some sort of rotation to give that the other first classes or second classes a chance to prove their leadership as LPO. That's just how I feel.
Mm-hmm. It looked like Damon. You taking notes on it?
No. I was writing something.
Say,
Hey,
man.
so
what you
one thing is that was a scenario though, right? There's a scenario that I gave. I didn't give no info about that, right? So with that being said, I would know more about the first class because he won't take over the day he step on board. That's a fact, right? So only scenario that was that though, right? But like you said, eventually he was going to become the LPO. But another thing you brought up though that was funny, like you'll be saying when you the young LPO, you'll be like, I don't even want to work. I don't want to be part of the team then. But how about that senior LPO? When he come on board, he found like he can't get in the game. He may feel the same way. I'm senior, and to me, being in the Navy, we've been ranked, seniority, all that stuff always played a factor in our. And since boot camp, what we've been taught? We've been taught seniority. We've been talking about rank. We've been talking all this stuff. But as soon as people start making rank, they forget about when they in charge of something. They forget about all this Navy shit. But guess what? We've been growing up on this Navy shit all the whole time. Rank, seniority. And if the guy come in and he can't do the job, that's a whole nother scenario. But what I'm saying is we've been always grew up on rank and seniority, and we are like shitting on that.
It's changing a little bit though. It's changing a little bit, right? With the advancement exams and stuff like that. It is changing, right?
It is.
It's most capable, like better guy at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it is. But now we are also in this scenario. We're not saying like this guy could come in and he can't be. He may not be chopped liver. He may be.
No. They both hot.
mean?
They both
Yeah.
hot. They both.
Yeah.
We had them equal for the scenario.
Yeah.
They both real hot. They both good. That's why when I was talking to FCA1, I told her like, you good. You've been kicking ass. Boom, boom, boom. But she pretty much said, okay, I'm gonna respect it, but I'm gonna prove that I can, play. And I think that's how I would take it too. Like if I'm the senior guy who know, I'm coming in as a senior guy who know what he doing. So anything I do is going to be a little bit more polished than your junior guy, right? So when you dealing with your junior guy, the moment that he go on leave, for instance, like let's say he go on leave and I got to step in, my work list going to just look a little better. My briefs to you, our morning meetings, they just going to flow a little smoother. Because like she said, I'm going to be shadowing that person. So I'm going to kind of know, what I'm going to show you that, I'm the guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you that I'm the guy. Then it's up to you, really to make, that hard decision. That's FCA1. That's a hard ass decision when it comes to
it
like,
is.
Damn, I gotta take this person out. The spot. That's a real because it's a lot that go with that decision. It's career, it's eval. It's a whole lot when you're thinking about that kind of shit, right?
But I also feel like when I'm making that decision too, I am thinking about, the progress of the sailor and what they doing and how they do it. I'm thinking about that also. In my scenario, my DC1 at the time, he was already he already set. You know what I mean? He's already good to go. He's already set at that time too. So when the HC1 came in, it was different when it came to that scenario. But I'm here to tell you, you will find in this scenario, you're gonna find friction either way. It's just the way you handle it and your morals on how you came up in the Navy and how your thought process and your leadership on how it go. That's what's gonna make the decision for you.
A lot of that shit depend on the senior chief or the chief that's delivering that information.
Exactly what it's gonna depend on. Because me firmly, I'm a big firm believer of seniority. I'm a big firm believer of rank. So I'm assuming and I'm older too though. I've been in the Navy a little bit longer too. So you're right. Like what Damo was saying, things are changing a little bit. So, but regardless though, I'm taking care of sailors at the end of the day, right? So I'm gonna make sure everybody's successful. I'm gonna have a plan in place. I'm gonna have all this good stuff down before I just throw that guy to the back of the line. It ain't gonna be like me saying, "Oh, You did it for a little while. Now you done. See you later. It won't never be that scenario either.
Because you don't want to lose that seller. I mean, and that's the thing I think about. I don't think about the conversation you have with the seller. I don't think about the conversation the department or LCPO have with the seller. I think about after you tell that seller that other motherfucker take LPO, that seller go to the Mestex and people know that person ain't the LPO no more. Then they got to deal with that. They got to deal with their peers. Motherfuckers like, what happened? You got fired? What, senior fired you? You been kicking ass. Like, senior, that happens. And I see FCA1 shaking her head because that happens more than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Where you might have been cool with, all right, yeah, senior, you know, that's the right decision. But as soon as you hit the Mestex, your people, they like, what was senior going to put that person in? They just got here. Like, senior don't know that. Then there's something else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we deal with a lot, you know? And so that brings me to my next point.
I got one more thing before we got this conversation. This same thing happened to me though.
What?
It happened to me.
What?
Of me, and I'm talking. I had no flack from it. It's same exact scenario because DC normally make rank faster than HTs, right? It's normally because our rank is better. I'm on the ship. HT1 came in senior. HT1 became probably about a month though, but the HT1 became the LPO of the division.
Yeah, but how long did the DC one have left?
It was me.
Oh,
you know
were it. Okay,
yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I had a minute left. You know what I mean? I was on the ship for a while. You know what I mean? It happens.
Was the HT one better than you?
It was, but to tell you the truth, it wasn't a better situation. No, he was. I mean,
I cannot get this guy. I can't.
You know, but the scenario. I'm telling you, what I'm getting at is though, we didn't. It wasn't even a time frame to say he was better than me or not. He's been on board a month. You know what I'm saying? So you can't detect that he's better than me or not better than me. You know, but it wasn't that type of scenario though. You know what I mean? It just, I was told, hey, HG1 been in Navy this long. We had a sit down. You know what I mean? A full sit down.
So we making a breakthrough. Do you believe that this is why you make these kinds of decisions?
That's what it's about. It's about how you came up in the Navy and those scenarios. It is about that. But
a lot. It's like if you got a P. It's like that motherfucker that got the P. The person that like they first eval was a P. You know, so when they giving you your first eval, they like, yeah, my first eval was a P, so your first eval gonna be a P too. That's how it happened to me. That's how it's gonna happen to you. That's one of those
whole different scenario. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I
it is.
feel
But
you.
that's a mentality that like some people have.
Yeah.
Like if I went through this, you know, you're gonna go through this. That's how we learn. Like when I was just in the class, the dude was like, "Yo, before I learned like leadership, I was the same person that I was the same person that all my other chiefs was. Because that's, I mean, who you learning from?
Yeah, but I'm always like, I respect that shit though, man. I just know shit, respect seniority, man. It's like me. It's like me being me being the chief, right? And I'm the LCPO, and I'm on a carrier, right? Then the senior chief come on a carrier. The senior chief, he's going to become the LCPO of that division. You know, I know we losing chiefs and stuff now, but that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to be the LCPO if I got another DCCS that's there, and I'm a DCC. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, like,
you know what I mean?
I'm just taking over the LCPO, and I put out. I'm like, yo, if the dude that's coming got more time than me, I'm good with, you know, them coming and doing their thing. But, and that brings me to my question for FC1. Because it's about the disconnect between the Chiefs mess and the junior sellers, or if it's a disconnect or whatever. But, so the first question is it a disconnect? Do you feel like it's a disconnect? Have you observed a disconnect between the Chiefs mess and junior sellers? Not specifically you, but just junior sellers as a whole.
I do feel it's a disconnect only because we don't feel as comfortable talking to chiefs or officers or you know whoever that's not our peer, especially when it comes to, you know, they may not know or understand like how we're feeling or, you know, what's going on, you know, through our heads or whatever. So I do feel like it's a disconnect only because it's a comfort level.
So here go the next question. We about to go into this one like a lot. So my next question is this: is it a thought process that junior sellers forget that chiefs were junior enlisted sellers before, Or is it the thought process that Chiefs forget that they were junior enlisted sailors before?
There you go. Y'all forget.
You
Y'all
think so?
forget that y'all was junior sailors. Some of y'all, not all of y'all. Some of y'all. I think the ones that who remembered where they came from are the ones that are more open to talking to junior sailors. They don't take for a junior sailor like you two. It never took for me being a junior sailor to come up to you guys. Like you guys always made it known that we can come and talk to you guys at any point in time. So you guys opened that door. You guys didn't let us come and open the door for you. Like you guys' door was always open. So I do feel like some leadership do forget that they were once
The thing about
a
it
junior
though is
sailor.
though that it's a benefit though. You know what I mean? It's a benefit. It's not just you, FCA1. I come talk to you because I know you had the ear of a lot of junior sailors, right? So it's a benefit for me to be having conversations with you because I know a lot of young sailors are listening to you and you're talking to them. So that's one of my reasoning to like open up or have these conversations or say 5 Alphas are always open, however we want to say it. But that's the reason behind it though. You know, because I don't want to be disconnected from everything and be this old salty guy saying, duh, 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 you know, because that's not where we at right now, man. It's 2021, man. Everything had to be transparent. You have to open up. You have to talk to people. But that's the disconnect between us knowing where we came from. It is a big deal, man. I be finding myself always thinking. I think I may have brought this up in another episode before. It's always saying, "This how I did it when I was a first class or I was a second class." And sometimes we forget everybody don't learn the same, everybody don't lead the same, everybody don't do a lot of stuff the same. So that's a big deal. But me knowing that mentality now, man, I promise you that it helped me be a better leader and make me want to talk to sailors more because of just that, we're not the same people, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, approachability is a big thing, you know what I mean? And I remember Sailor was doing the wrong thing, man. On the ship. It was on the ship, last ship. Doing the wrong thing, straight up. Doing drills, like in the angle iron, like damn near bent up, like half sleep, right? And I guess this particular day, I wasn't really for the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they asked me a question, "Hey, Chief," and my response was like, and I realize it now, you know, years later. I gave a Damo response, not an EMC, not none of that shit. I'm like, yo, come on, you fucking up, like, just to bro. It was abrasive, and I know the impact that it had on that seller after that. Like that seller, like, was like telling other people, like, yo, you can't go to him, you can't talk to him. He gonna get riled up, he gonna get boom, boom, boom. And it was because of that one scenario. And the seller was wrong, like straight up. Like it was like, no way. But it was like my approach to it. And I realized that, damn, you like judged on that kind of scale, because my approach to it was like, yo, come on, like stop the bullshit. You just bullshit. Like, and I went really hard, you know what I mean? So, and I understood then. I'm like, all right, this is a disconnect, and it's kind of hard to grow. It's kind of hard to grow that back when you representing a group of people. You know what I'm saying? So when you do that, somebody be like, damn, like every chief is probably like this. You know what I'm saying? And then if you somebody chief and you like that, man, that's a whole, you done messed it up in my opinion, you done messed it up for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You kind of can't take those moments back. And one of the things I wanted to bring up was, I'll be talking to FCA1 in a P-way, and she'd say something to me like normal, something she would say to me. And, and then it might be in like another seller around. So FCA1 be like, y'all better not be bullshitting with boom, 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 this meeting, boom, boom. And I'm like, this is truth, honest kind of talk. This is what I like, but then the other seller be looking like, damn, she just said that to you, Chief. Like, that's crazy. But I'm like, this is a good conversation. Like, this is a kind of conversation that I want you to have with me, Vice, knowing you had it when I wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to me. Like, tell me where we fucking up, what we could do better, and stuff like that. Because that way I know you care. And that way I know that I care. If you tell me where I'm fucking up, I know I care. If you don't, think about it. Like, if you messed up And I'm not saying that. I don't think you care. I don't think you're gonna fix it or change it. So I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my take on that.
When you bring that up, man, I remember like how many times in the P-Way and freaking FCA1 would be like, man, why we doing this?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, hey, why are we doing this right now? You know what I mean? I just remember conversations like that when you said that, man. It's funny.
And we need people. We need people like that. That's because I feel this. Is how I feel like, and I'm glad you made first, because this how I feel like. This where I feel like the separation come at when it comes to the mess. It ain't enough people that's telling us what we need to adjust. You know what I'm saying? So if we just walking around not ever knowing how the junior sellers feel or what we need to adjust, then like who checking us? Like what are we doing or whatever? Am I kind of hitting somewhere with that one? Dame and our FCA1.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like if that's what we learn from, man. We learn, and it's another thing that took me a while to learn is that these junior sailors are smart as hell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they may do something. Yeah, they may do something and make the job crazy easy. That's why I'm always open to conversations. Like when a junior sailor talking to me, sometimes I may be like, man, that's a good idea. Or sometimes I might say, well, this is why we don't do it like that. Because some safety or something, blah, blah, blah. But if I shut them down every time they come up with an idea, they're never going to talk to me. They're never going to come up with something. Well, I ain't going to come up with nothing because senior going to shoot it down anyway. So that's why, regardless if my mindset is we going to do it this way, regardless, right? If that's my mindset, we fucking up from the dough, man. Like we are never going to, if you don't empower your sailors to have their own mind, to have their own thoughts, to have their own whatever, man, we are losing. It's a losing battle from the dough.
FCA1. Hey, you feel like it's a lack of trust?
Man, that's a strong word. I don't trust. I ain't trust none of y'all when I came to the Navy. I don't trust people, you know. But that ain't that has nothing to do with just being in the Navy. That's just like for me, that was just how I was brought up. Like I just don't trust people out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So if it's people that I grew up with, if I don't even trust them, why I'm gonna trust a group of strangers? I don't know y'all like that to just instantly trust you guys or whatever. That was just my mentality on it. And at the end of the day, to this day, I have to feel like I can give you that trust. I'm just not trusting you because you're like my LCPO or you're my Divo or department head or whatever. Like I just that's just me. That's always just been in my thought process. So I tend to lean towards people who I do trust when it comes to like that support that I need. And it doesn't matter, like, Senior Leggings is 3,000 miles away. If I got an issue and I know that I can talk to him, I'm going to reach out and talk to him. Same thing with you, you know, Senior McCullough, you're like 45 minutes away. I'll pick up the phone and I'd rather reach out to that long distance than to reach out in my own backyard. And that's just because that's just how I am. And everybody don't get me, you know, and you know, or relate or, you know, can like have that level of conversation that I need. You know, some people to this day they want to sugarcoat stuff and, you know, tell you like the Navy's fucking version. Like when I come to you with something, maybe I don't want to hear the Navy's fucking version. Maybe I'm literally just coming to you because I need to know like how to handle a situation or what my thought process is or whatever the case may be. I think you were one of the first two people when I talked about my clothing line that I trusted with, you know, my idea. I don't trust, you know, it's just one of them things like whether it's personal or professional, I don't trust very easily. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a different sailor. That's how I always tell people like, hey, I'm different.
Yeah.
Like
I
feel
feel
what
like
works for me may not.
I feel like the same in a sense. I feel the same way. Trust is earned, right? So my thing with the trust is, I'm going to trust you to do your job until you know, do something otherwise. So that's when I guess the whole trust thing when it comes to anything. I am going to give you the utmost trust, but you know, things will play out. It's gonna be some scenarios where you can possibly gain more trust or you can lose trust. So I kind of look at it like that, but I kind of try to tell people in the beginning, hey, you got it. I trust you to get stuff done or whatever. Yeah. But it's a different trust when I'm talking to my sailors and I'm talking to my family. You know what I mean? It's just a different trust.
I mean, and that's when you minimize, that's when we minimize trust, because we could take trust down to the minimal, right? Yeah. Whereas like if I'm driving in the street, I trust the other driver to stay in their lane, right? That's trust. That's not earned trust. That's just trust.
Yeah.
I trust you to stay in your lane. You're not going to go over the lane. So, my perception is like, it might be some sailors day 3 on a ship that already don't trust any chief.
Yeah.
Right?
That's facts.
Now,
and that probably coming from another junior sailor, but it's facts.
Coming from, yeah. I think that happens more than it. Like, even on those Facebook pages, I think that happens more than anything else. Like, somebody had a bad experience and they communicated that shit, and that is the reason why some people, it'd be like day 5, you get sellers like, man, I don't know, man. I feel like I could go to none of the chiefs. Like, you've been here 5 days. Like, what happened in those 5 days that fucks you up? And so it's super easy to lose trust, I think, as a chief or whatever like that. Most even probably as a first class or whatever. But how do we gain that trust back? And that's a question for you, FC1.
Hey, I don't know. I'm the type, if that trust gone, that trust is gone. I'm always question it. Anything you do, I'm always question it. Like with me, I'm more of a observant. I observe leaders. Even with my bad experience, I observe leaders or whatever. So like at the time, DCC was one of the first chiefs that I actually talked to, and that's because he recruited me to be an ACFL or whatever the case may be. So instantly we had something in common that we both love fitness. So that's something I can talk to him about, and it just grew from that or whatever. And then from there, I seen how he interacted with his sailors, and then how he interacted with other sailors like that wasn't in his division or whatever. And he was the same way. Like, he talked to us as if we were DC2 or DC3 or DC1 or HC1. He talked to us the same way, And the same thing with you, seeing McCullough. Like, I observed how you guys interacted with your own people, and that kind of determined whether I wanted to interact with you or whatever. But on the flip side, my thing is once I feel like I can't trust you, I'm gonna talk to you for that respect, because you're my chief, and let you know what's going on. Yeah. But best believe I already done talked to the chiefs that I can trust. Yeah, I already done talked to them or whatever. I'm just giving you that courtesy, that respect to know what's going on with me or whatever. But other than that, like, my own chief couldn't even tell you stuff that was going on with me, because I didn't trust him enough to confide in him about what was going on. So I reached out to other chiefs that I knew that I could talk to or whatever, and that made their opinions 100 times better than listening to what my chief would say. Like, because I'm listening, but I ain't really like comprehending what you're saying. Like, it's not hitting home. Like, I'm not feeling the connection or whatever. So that's just me. So yeah, once I feel like I can't trust you, then I can't trust you. There's no turning back for me. I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I noticed, one of the things I saw, I feel like I see now is like when I was a junior seller, no matter what my background was, what I came from, what I was doing outside this world, outside in the world, I thought being a chief would be cool. Like, and to be a chief, to make chief, that'd be cool. That's an accomplishment. It's something I want. Is that like, I've talked to some junior sellers. They'd be like, man, I never want to be a chief. Senior, I never want to be a chief. Is that have you seen that from your lens, FCA1? Just sellers that saying that the chief ain't held to the same regard that it used to be held at.
Well, I mean, what regard is that if they only know what they know right now? Like, they don't know how it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And, at the end of the day, if you come into the Navy being closed-minded, then you're going to always be closed-minded. So I didn't look at when I with me having shitty Chiefs, I didn't look at it as like I don't want to be a Chief. If anything, I was that before Sailor. Like hell no, I don't want to be no Chief because I ain't even trying to make it that far. Like I just want
Yeah.
to just do my little time and be done. But then when I got involved with shitty leadership, I was like, that fueled me to like, yo, I'm ready to sit in this Chiefs mess, man, because like
Right.
I already know what the fuck I need to be doing. Like I've seen good Chiefs, I've seen not so good Chiefs. I ain't gonna say bad because I don't feel like any Chief is bad. I just feel like some Chiefs just lack a little bit, more leadership than others. But I feel like everybody can grow. So I was like, yo, I want to sit in the Chiefs mess. Like I've been through some shit. Like I know, like because I didn't have that good chief to pull me under my wing until I was like 4 years in the Navy, 3 years in the Navy. So I knew like, hey, like this is something that I want to do. I feel like being in the Chiefs mess, they're a little bit more closer to home than in the wardroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I just never wanted to like be that disconnected from Junior Sailor because at the same time, like I was once that Junior Sailor or whatever. So and I want that to be known to Junior Sailors. Like, hey, like I've been there, I've done that. I'm not sitting in the wardroom, and not tonight. People that sit in the wardroom, but some of them they've never experienced the enlisted background, so they don't know the things that we go through, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, whatever. So I feel like being in a Chiefs mess, like that's like right there. Like they have a little bit more understanding of what the E6 and below what we're going through.
Because we was one.
So
Yeah.
yeah, because you guys were one, so I can understand that, and that's what I like. I do like that, and then I do like the fact that when you get good Chiefs, like you gotta stay good Chiefs. It don't matter if you're a Chief, senior Chief, Master Chief, like, or even if you transition and go warrant, like you guys stay good Chiefs, like
Yeah.
and I definitely respect that, and that's why I'm like over the moon excited for when it's my turn to be up for Chief, because I'm trying to knock it out the park.
Yeah. Now, you got a question, Damon?
Well, not a question, but it was a thing about like not wanting to be a chief and things like that. When I hear somebody that say they don't want to be in the chief mess, I automatically want to dig. Right? I want to see if anything in their background, have they got in trouble, have they got anything like this to make them want to say that, because I'm always like this. You come in the Navy, you want to succeed. I don't see no one that don't want to succeed. You want to be a third class, you want to be a second class, you want to be a first class, then you want to make chief because that's the path. So I don't think people come in the Navy automatically like, hey, I don't want to be in the mess. If that's your trajectory, but sometimes things happen to sailors as they come in and as they go through to make them think like that. So that automatic when somebody say they don't want to be there, I automatically want to like ask them some questions. You know what I
What
mean?
you think happened? You think it's us that happened?
It could be. It could be bad leadership. It could be with the captain mass and think they not going to make it. I had a point in my Navy career that I didn't think I was going to be in the mess. Right? I went to captain mass as a first class. Right? So I thought, I wasn't thinking that I didn't want to be in there, but I was thinking I wasn't going to, get in there because the whole 5-year thing. And I'm like, man, if I wait 5 years, that's gonna put me up there in years, and I might have to get out like this. I might have 1 or 2 tries at it after that time frame. So you start thinking about it, like this might be a scenario that may not happen, but it ended up working out for me, of course. But it's like one of those things where I feel like everybody want to come in the Navy and everybody wants to succeed. Something have to happen between them lines and say, man, I just don't want to be there. I just want to stay a first class. You know what I mean? I want to stay, second class. I feel like everybody want to succeed and everybody want to grow.
Yeah. I also think your peers could paint the bad light too. Like I said, you just got to the ship, you got somebody that had the bad experience, and you trust that person, and they just paint that bad light. But we have some like you just said, we have some chiefs that fuck up.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man.
Bad light.
Like a lot, way more than I, like to say. It's just a lot, man. Yeah.
Because do you think FC1? Do you think that leaders are beyond training? Like, or do you think leaders should always get some form of kind All right, let's get back to the basics. Training is how you supposed to lead your people.
Like I said, I feel like regardless of your rank or pay grade or whatever, like you should be learning every day. You shouldn't be against learning. I feel like me being a first class, like I've learned best from junior sailors. So I feel like even when it do come become my time to sit in the Chiefs mess, I will continue to learn more from my junior sailors, the E6 and below, than I will my own, Chiefs mess or brothers and sisters or whatever the case may be. So them are the ones that's gonna like keep you on your toes. Like always keep it 100, let you know what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. And that's what you need. Like uh, that's just me though. Like I said, so if I ever run into a chief that feel like they can't, they stop learning because they're a chief or they're a scene chief or they're a match chief or a command match chief, then something wrong. Like something is definitely wrong.
So I think I want to say like something you said earlier was like one of the things that would make sellers go to chiefs or would make you kind of know who was around was them people putting themselves like out there, making themselves available to be approached and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that if somebody listening, chief, something like that, and you wondering, just one of the things that, because we only talking to one person right now. So if, just one of the things that, some of these junior sellers want, they want just to see you, like you be around, be available, be able to kind of talk to, communicate with and stuff like that. And I know it's a lot of people out there. I know it's people, I'm out there. I know it's a lot of people out there like that, but then there's some people that's probably not. And they probably wondering what the disconnect is. And some of that disconnect is just that. Like, just like let people know who you are.
Yeah. A good, you brought up a good point, man. I'm thinking right now as into like a lot of the chief, I ain't gonna say just chiefs, but whoever, like a leadership. I remember I had this, not on my last ship before I had a DC1 used to always say to me, Chief, you can go to Chief Mess, I got this. Or Chief, you can go, to your office or whatever the case may be, right? And I had to have a sit down and tell him that it's not about me coming here to step on your toes. That I feel like sometimes that is my time to interact with sailors. If you guys doing I'm not there turning wrenches, but I'm there talking. You know what I mean? My biggest thing for young sailors now is the fact that I'm freaking 41 years old and I got life experience. You know what I mean? They may be going through some stuff right now in their life that I may have went through. I know somebody that went through. It's life experience. It ain't like knowledge of DC. Like, man, these DC1s now probably know more about freaking damage control than I know. You know what I mean? Because I'm not in that role of doing all the maintenance no more, doing all this stuff. I have to go read that stuff again now. So they may know more about that stuff, you know what I'm saying, more in the detail than I know, so it's always learning and it's always stuff like that. But I like to be around sailors though, you know what I mean? Even though like it ain't got nothing to do. I know DC1 just get me all the time, man. I got this, Chief. I got this. Yeah, I know you got it.
Yeah, my EM2s. It's crazy. I get text messages from sailors that I used to work with, like pretty often actually. And it's never about Navy stuff. Like they never thank me about like Navy. Like, sometimes I feel bad. Like, yo, what am I doing? Like am I not like pushing the Navy? But like they be like, hey, senior man, like I appreciate this. You taught me about this. You taught me about this. If you ever want to run for president, I vote for you. It's like, yo, none of this is like Navy related. Like, am I
They said president for you though? I mean,
yeah.
Ooh.
Is that a tall order? Is being a president? I mean, I know. Hey, FCA1, got a question for you.
Yes.
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
In the Navy or just in general?
In the Navy, first off. We're going to talk some in general stuff in a second. But in the Navy, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
For me, just don't believe when people say you can't do it or you don't belong. Because at the end of the day, who are you to tell me that I don't belong here? So that's my biggest thing. Like that, I did it with pretty much all the odds against me. Because I guarantee you, if you was a bad person, you probably would have lost your money, like betting on me or whatever. And that's kind of like what it is. Like you got to prove people wrong. And at the end of the day, you know, I'm here to let people know, like, hey, you can have these adversities. You can't go through stuff. You can have like the shittiest leaders or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, it's about your mentality on it. And if you don't let nobody break that, then at the end of the day, like, you can do anything.
I look at also with FCA1, man. When I think of the whole thing, think of conversations we didn't have, the grind, right? You know what I mean? For whatever reason, we always can look back at your career and say, how many times I was looked over for anything. It don't matter what it was, but I was looked over, right? So that is a story in itself that can be shared with many people, man, that's coming up or doing whatever, man. Just that story alone, the grind and still making shit happen, man. That's the story right there, man. That's the story.
I remember when you guys like, y'all.
Hold up, whoa.
Hey, hold on, this gonna be good. I remember this. I would never.
I didn't open up a can of worms now, man.
I would never forget this. I'll never forget. Like, I just knew. Like, I just knew I was gonna get mapped. I just knew. I knew it. Like, I was doing everything. Like, everything.
Yeah.
And then, for it not to happen, like, I remember when, like, you guys came to me on the mess days, because I didn't go and see y'all. Y'all came and found me. Well, you found me first, like, you found me on the mess days. Like, you know, like, stranger danger. What you doing here? Well, why you here? Like, you know.
Yeah.
And you sat down and was like, hey, come see me in my office, you know, I want to talk to you. I was like, all right, cool. And then, you know, Sean McCullough came in. He was like, hey, like, I like, how you feeling? Because I knew, like, you know, whatever. And you guys, like, for me not to have to go and, like, find you and express my emotions, like, for you guys to come and find me or whatever, like, and I know I told Cindy Leggins, I don't know how many times, like, see, I'm done. Like, I am done. Don't ask me to do shit. I ain't doing shit. I'm dropping this collateral. Seeing you find you another CFL. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not for it. And then the next thing you know, I'm out here like doing the same. See, y'all got it. I put him in. I did all this for you. Like, I thought you was done. He was like, I knew you wasn't done. Like, cause that's the shit I would say. You know, I used to say. And he was like, you know, it's just built in us. You know, like, we just not that type of person to just be done. You know, we're gonna give it our all until it. You know, it's the end. And that's kind of like, you know, how I was. Like, hey, you know, I wanted people to know, like, hey, just because something didn't go my way don't mean I'm going to just be this, you know, I'm going to just be a shitty person. It didn't go my way. It's not my time. And I always feel like God has a plan. And then when I did make it, like, I'll never forget, I was talking to Villanueva, but he was like, you don't start studying? I said, man, fuck studying. I'm going to just ride this higher team. Like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I'm done with this, you know? And he was like, no. You know, you try to study even if it's an hour a day. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start tomorrow. And then literally that next day, the damn results came out, and I was walking through the P-way, and I was like, and I heard my name. I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, you know, and for me to make it on my own at the lowest percentage that it's ever been, you know, I tell people all the time, like 6%. I drill that shit in their head. And on my Yeti mug, I have how many times I've been on restriction, the brick, how many times I've taken the advancement exam for first class. And they like, what is these numbers? And I said, I never forget how long it took for me to get to where I am. So I was like, I'm like the most humble person ever. Like, I don't take nothing for granted. None of the shit that I've been through, you know, everything that I had to do, I did on my own. And even you guys was like, hey, that shit feel better when you've done it on your own and like it wasn't given to you, you know. Not to, you know, and seeing like I say, hey, not to discredit your hard work, but it feels better when you've like put the time and effort into, you know, studying, taking the exam, because at the end of the day, nobody took that exam but you. And I took the exam and I made it. I was like, yo, what? Like, I didn't let nobody see me cry, but I like went. I just sat and I was like, man, Jesus, like, I was like, man, you ain't never come when I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? But like,
always
you know,
on time.
You always showed up for me. So I was like, man, like, so it was definitely a blessing because I literally had one more time to take the advancement exam or whatever, and that's when I was like, man, like,
it was a grind. It was a grind.
Yeah,
it was a grind.
Yeah, that was like poetic. Yeah. That was like poetic justice, man.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because some of these conversations me and Damon have, and some of them we won't. You know what I'm saying? So some of them will be like, oh man, like, yo, we need to go talk to FCA1.
Yeah.
And then some of them
we already
be
talking.
like,
Yeah, you're right. We already be talking about this stuff all the time.
Yeah. Some of them will be like where it's like I snatched up FCA1. Like we had a situation on a ship, and it was more Sapper related. I know you remember it. I'm not gonna get too because I plan on having a whole episode about it, but it was more Sapper related, and that was one of them where we both just went to find the person. Like it wasn't like we talked about it, nothing. It's like, yeah. And I think sometimes people probably thought like, man, like Senior Leggings already talked to me. Did he tell you to come? Like, nah, like we both just care that, like, not to sound heroic here, but we both just care that much. Like we both just came to come find you to talk to you. I think with you, and it might not have seemed like it took that long, but I think with you, with the map, just because, it's no like favors or nothing like that. But I think that I thought that in that year, I thought you were going to be Matt. I was like, man, I thought that. I'm like, man,
Me too.
Even when it came to, my map, I'm like, yo, I'm going to submit a map. But I think it's going to be, FCA2 for this year, I think. You know what I'm saying? So when it didn't happen, I was surprised or shocked or whatever. And that's in hindsight, right? That's some of the shit they act like we can't talk about, like us being surprised. But that's in hindsight. Like I was kind of like, as a person, like, damn, she didn't get mad. I thought, she would have got mad. So I think when I went and talked to Senior Leggings about it, because we go to 5 Alpha, I'm like, yo, we gotta talk to her. Like this gotta happen. Like both of us having a conversation, but it's like we gotta. And it was one of them things that for me at first, just to be honest and transparent, I ain't know how it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't know how, I'm like, damn, we got to go talk. Because I wouldn't blame you for being upset. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't think you wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't think you wouldn't be like, yo, fuck all this, boom, boom, boom. But I know I still need you to kind of, I need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, as that level leader you are, and me being on the ship, there's some things I know that I can't do that you could do. So I need you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, this got to happen. You know what I'm saying?
The whole thing with FCA1 Wilson making first class was one of those things, man. It's like when you get to the ship, we got to the ship like 2015, 2016. It's like, man, for me though, it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Made senior chief. This happened to me. This happened to me. This happened to me. Then FCA1 Wilson making first class. That's how much this stuff was part of us. Like pivotal. Every year, every cycle came by. It's like we was looking for your name. It seemed like it was that big of a impact. So I know, like for me thinking like that, I'm thinking as the junior sailors. You know what I mean? On how bad they probably wanted you to make it, probably more than you. You know what I mean? Them and that's where, man, you get that spark. That's where you get that motivation from. Cause it ain't just like you. Yes, you want to make it, but when you don't make it, it's almost like you letting your junior sailors down. You know what I mean? Because
when I got my eval, I had a conversation with the captain, and this is what the captain said. He was like, man, when I think about evals and this type of stuff, I think about what everybody else going to think about it too. He's like, I'm not only thinking about, yo, am I putting this person here or saying this person is this way just based off my own thought. I think if somebody else look at this and they think about it, like, what did the junior sailors think? Does this person deserve this, as well? And that's how I look at the maps. And like every map, and since my career started, I'm not just talking about one ship. If I see things happen and people, get mapped or don't get mapped and they either deserve it or, or don't deserve it, that shit affects the command. You know what I'm saying? If the wrong person, and this is for lack of a better phrase, if the wrong person get mapped, the junior sailors are looking at that shit like, damn, like what the fuck? If the right person get mapped or win SOQ or win Blue Jacket or whatever, if that happens, the junior seller's looking at that too. I remember being a junior seller, first ship, and one of the seller, her name was Staples. I can't never forget her name, Megan Staples. She won Blue Jacket of the Year, and I'm like, damn, how do you get that? I'm like, I want that. Like, how do you get Blue Jacket of the Year? They like, man, she got her E-SWAS at this time. She got qual this, she did this, and she a fucking, a good seller. So what did I choose to do? I chose to do what she did so I could get what she got. Like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and I got it right. I wound up getting, not to shout out my Blue Jacket of the Year, but I wound up getting Blue Jacket of the Year. I did it. I followed the blueprint, So I think me personally, like whenever I see somebody say, "Oh, I don't want Sell of the Quarter. I don't want those awards," my own thought is that if you deserve it, you make other sellers better by keeping the integrity of the program up, but it's the same shit when it's the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You make it, you don't make it better. You know what I'm saying? It's like when people start winning awards for like movies that's trash, and then everybody make the same movie or make the same sounding song because this is what's garnering success at the time. You fucking it up. You know what I'm saying? So watching everything that FCA1 was doing that year was like everything that I'm like, man, it's like it's kind of a full spectrum for me when it comes to being a seller on a ship. You do your job, yeah, right? You involved in whatever you're involved in outside of that shit. But the other biggest thing is the impact for me. It's the biggest thing for me, and we talked about this a lot, Damon, is the impact you have on the ship and other sellers, right? If you're a fixture at your command and a fixture on other sellers, you like one of the prime people at that command that's getting the boat underway, in my opinion, getting the ship underway, for lack of a better phrase again, and those are the people that stand out, you know what I mean? And I mean, then you got some standout people that's just fucked up sellers. Like that you gotta, only reason why you know them because you gotta correct them every day. Like, yeah, why you shit fucked up every day? But then you got sellers that stand out, and they the sellers that keep the integrity for the other sellers. They the ones that when you was a very junior seller, you saw them as first classes and second classes, and you was like, yo, that's good. That's the way I want to be.
No doubt,
right?
Man. No doubt, man.
Yeah. So yeah, and so that's why I hold that map and all that shit to like such a high regard. All right, real quick, Vanessa Guillen, right? Vanessa Guillen, that happened when we were on deployment. Did the Vanessa Guillen thing happen when we were on deployment, or sometime before?
It was. I want.
Were we underway anywhere?
Yeah, I think we was. I remember being underway.
We was always on the way. So
right.
yeah, we got it.
So now Vanessa Guillen happened. Now me as a chief, male chief, I got some of it, but you probably got more of the Vanessa Guillen, like kind of like the reaction to that story than I got from other sellers around you, right? Was that a hard time?
I think for me and talking to other females, we was like confused, more so than anything, like, confused on why her chain of command didn't know what was going on around her. Like, was it, she just hit it very well, or you guys, they just didn't care, or they just didn't want to see what was going on, So I think that was the biggest thing for us, me and my female friends. And we was just confused on like, how did you even let this happen on a base at that? Like, and it be like somebody who is like literally works so close to her.
I think my thing was thing was on the whole Vanessa thing was when it first happened, we first started getting wind of it. In my mind, it was like, this shit is happening too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't real deep for me. At the beginning, it wasn't like a deep thing for me. I'm like, this crazy shit is happening. But then when you start listening, then when the stories start coming out and what happened start coming out, then you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy.
You know what I mean? It's just a crazy story, and you just can't get your head around, like what you said, how can this stuff happen and no one like knows anything and no one this and that, and it was just a crazy story, man. Like, and like it almost made me feel like I wanted to talk about it in public. You know what I mean? I wanted to like talk about this.
We did want to talk about
it. Yeah. We most definitely did. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's crazy, man.
And it's hard because it happened on base. It happened like, so it's like, damn, like how can we expect, our women to have trust in a lot of stuff if this stuff happening on base. Then you got the other addition is like if we don't address things, if we don't ever talk about things,
Yeah.
right? If we don't ever talk about things, does that mean we don't care about them? Does it mean we trying to avoid them? Like, what does any of this kind of stuff mean? Because I mean, we were on deployment FCA1. We had, first thing happened, of course, was Kobe. Of course that happened to us, right? Kobe. But then everything happened. George Floyd, riots, COVID, protests, like all that stuff happened. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like for the Navy, it took a while for the Navy as a whole to address it, right? We wound up addressing it, right, with the triad, and they got in front of commands and they talked about, a lot of that stuff. But it seemed like it took us a while to process it and all of that stuff. So just as a black sailor, period, like when these things start happening and it's not getting addressed, do you at all feel disconnected from feel like the command is disconnected from what's going on in the world, or what?
I don't think they're disconnected. I think they choose to be disconnected. They choose to overlook what the fuck be going on to us, or just people in general. And people at the end of the day, they address what they want to address. The biggest thing is that they address protest. They ain't address all the other shit that happened to lead up to people protesting. Like they addressed the whole protesting about the former president we had. They didn't talk about anything with the other protesting. That was why y'all got us together to talk about that. Don't go down to the White House, and don't be in Navy or military attire to protest. That's what they got. That's essentially, I felt, what they got.
That Navy, that actual Navy training, right? Yeah.
Not all the other stuff that's going on or whatever. Not sailors leaving nooses on black sailors racks. Sailors writing the N word on the head and stuff. We don't talk about that stuff because y'all like it don't happen, but it do happen or whatever. Like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would like to think that it doesn't happen, but it do happen. So why don't we address that stuff? And then when you do address it, is I have no tolerance for it. But then that's literally it. That's all you say.
It's like one of the things.
So I don't take stuff like that serious. I don't take them trainings. I don't take that stuff serious. That's just me. And like I said, it's a waste of my fucking time because you're not gonna do anything about it. Like, why do we have to wait for something to be mandated for you guys to put it out?
I'm gonna tell you my take on it. I'm trying to look at it in different lenses, right? And the lenses I look in it is that it's a hard conversation. That's the biggest. I think that is the biggest thing about why we don't talk about things. People are scared to say the wrong thing. They know if they slip up and say one word the wrong way, their career can be over, just like this. So I think that's one reason why people don't jump out and they don't say this and say that. I think that's one reason. The whole thing with the protesting and all that type of stuff. I'm gonna tell you what I felt, because it's permission to speak freely. What I felt at that whole thing was, I felt like one of the senior African Americans at a command. I feel like you could have bring me in. You know what I mean? Talk to me a little bit about it. Now, they could have talked to other people, I don't know, but I felt like I had something to say about it. I had a word of advice, or me being able to got the pulse of what's going on around the ship. Maybe I could have helped, say this or maybe say that, and may have, or whatever the case may be, man. But it's a lot of stuff goes on the biggest thing is about having dialogue, and people are not scared to talk about it, because people are scared of the consequences of what happens when they do talk about it. It's easy for us. Us three right here, we could talk about this all day and night. But when we bring in different, people into the conversation get more, stale. People don't want to say this. People don't want to say it. They most of the time agreeing with you instead of stating their opinion. All this type of stuff that happens. But as you see, look at the media. A person come out and say one thing, they done. Their career over. Yeah. So who wants to go out and attack this beast? Nobody want to attack this beast.
It's like those movies. Those like I've been seeing some like black movies that's not that good. But like right now, like the white critics can't say that they bad. Yeah, that's like an 89 on Rotten Tomato. Yo, that movie was horrible. It had all black people in it. You know, and that one like white person can't be like, "Hey, Damo, you know, like I ain't really like that movie." What? Motherfucker, you ain't like But I see that happen a lot. Like now, like nowadays when it comes to like
different,
stuff,
right?
because it's like people scared. Even what happened with Olympics, even some of that stuff, you might get, I'm a white male, I'm not comfortable talking about this black woman or whatever, and it might be just their opinion, you know what I'm saying, but you might get killed for that opinion, you know what I'm saying. So it is hard, like you are right, it is hard, it's touchy subjects, you could be disconnected, but I honestly feel like a lot of people just are disconnected. Like I just feel like it's not enough representation in most rooms to have the right type of connection. It was a long time when people were saying I don't see color, that like they thought that was the best thing to say, you know what I'm saying. It was a long time that people were saying black on black crime, and they thought that was the best thing to say. It's like just in these last 4 years, like we telling people like, nah, like it's not about not seeing color, it's about respecting different people for who they are. Like I don't want you to not see color, I'm not like you, I ain't grow up how you grew up, I grew up how I grew up. I want you to see my color. You know what I'm saying? So it was a long time, for a lot of that stuff, for us to start getting stuff right. I do believe we getting stuff right on every front. I believe we starting to understand stuff and get stuff right on every front. I still believe we need more people of more ethnicities and cultures and orientations in every single room. Right. I think that like it's representation everywhere. So I think we need that. Right now we got somebody from Mississippi here. We got somebody from up northeast, and we got somebody from Atlanta here, and then we have other differences, and these differences, we all need to get together and talk. So it's some representation here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When they coming up with these hairstyles, and when we coming up with the way we wear our uniforms and all this stuff, you need that one person, like for instance, like the black woman, to be in that room. Like, well, what about this hairstyle? Like, it's not professional.
Exactly.
If she not in there.
I'm so glad they finally realized that everybody hair is
and they still haven't addressed it all though. It's still some work to do. Still some work to do right there.
No,
but back to what I wanted to say though, when you was saying that, so all these focus groups again that you guys heard me say again, when you guys come up with these focus groups and you guys talk about hair and you talk about this, you talk about that, call your boy, man. Call me up, man. I want to be in them focus groups and talk about this stuff also. You know what I mean? Because a lot of things, what happens, you have one certain group in that room that may not know about this or may not know about that. So, call me, man. I'm here. I'm available. I'm on shore duty.
FCA1, as far as Navy, did we leave any stone unturned that you would like to talk about when it comes to Navy stuff?
No, you guys pretty much talked about a lot of stuff. I don't think we didn't hit too much on the sexual harassment aspect of the Navy that goes on. Like but I mean, we did cover everything else. Leadership is definitely a big thing, and honestly, like I just want people to tune in to the podcast, and because you guys do put out good information, amazing information that we may not know anything about. So
yeah. Now, as far as sexual harassment, is it anything you want to talk about that?
I just want people to know that it doesn't matter if they're your all-star player. If they are doing something that doesn't align with the Navy core values or whatever the case may be, then you need to hold them accountable. It does not matter like I said, it doesn't matter if they're your all-star or whatever the case may be. It's some stuff that you know right from wrong. We're not talking about just you being late for watch. That stuff you can be, it can be corrected. But you sexually harassing somebody or whatever the case may be, like there should be no room for that.
And I want to add to that what you're saying real quick, and I hope that I hit a good point for you and you feel represented in this. But also, let's be aware that it could happen to anybody, meaning that don't just because the person got a strong personality or you feel like the person could, defend themselves or you feel like, this type of shit, don't think that can't happen to that person, and don't take that person serious if they say that it did happen to them. That's why a lot of males don't report the shit, because they feel like somebody gonna look at them like they weak, or somebody might. Like, nah, they wouldn't let this happen to them. If this happened to them, they would do this, do that. That's not the case all the time. Like, that don't mean it can't happen to somebody. Like, somebody that's sick and wanting to do something, they're going to be sick and do what it is, the hell it is that they want to do. So take it serious when y'all hear people say this, and they don't matter who you think they are and what you think they would do if this kind of happened to them. Was that okay?
Yeah. I do got something I want to add about that what you just said also, FCA1. Now, for one, I want to say that being an all-star or being whoever does not play a factor in nothing when it comes to sexual anything. But I want to say this. Sometimes if a person don't speak out, a person don't say nothing, it's all hearsay, she say, he say, all this type of stuff. Sometimes I feel like I was put in a situation before in my Navy career where, all this stuff was written up, but ain't nobody doing nothing about it. I just want to state the fact and say this. I'm there to lead sailors. When it comes to when all the information get put out or whatever about this, it's not, I have nothing to do with that, at that situation. Somebody up way above, me dealing with that case or dealing with that. I come to work every day. I'm not going to treat no one differently. I'm going to treat you the same way that I always been treating. I think sometimes we get in these situations like, oh, senior don't want to do nothing for this guy because he's senior's all-star player or whatever the case may be. But I'm getting at when the facts are out about everything, something should be done about this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put the sailor say, okay, because I don't know the facts. You know what I mean? What you saying is what you saying. What they saying is what they saying. And then when the facts come out, then shit gonna start happening. Don't think because I'm hearing all this is grumbling that I'm supposed to start treating people differently as a leader. I'm not until the facts are out. And I remember being put in a situation like this before, and it was like, they don't care about me because of this and that. And I'm like, and I had to have a one-on-one. I said, that is not the case. You know what I mean? The case is that when all the facts come out, somebody going to determine that. It is not going to be me. It's not going to be, you're not going to be singing Chief Leggins, So that's just one thing I want to say about that, man. Don't be scared to speak out. Anybody who's doing it, you can't do that. You can't do that in the United States Navy, period, or any workplace. You know what I mean? Not just the military. Any workplace, that stuff is not tolerated. But speak out too. I think a lot of people don't say too much and just let it keep riding and all that stuff, man. Speak out. That stuff, it happens and it destroys a work environment when it happens.
I guess to attach myself to what you're saying is that a lot of these processes they have appeal processes too, right? Like the Semio program, for instance, if you file a Semio complaint, you go through the Semio, but the Semio got to go to the CCS, right? So that's the check and balance for the Semio. But then after all that shit, the Semio it's an appeal, so if they make a decision, y'all come to a resolution and you didn't like that resolution, in 40 days, you could say that. Like you could say, hey, I don't like this resolution, and that's for informal. With a formal, you could actually appeal whatever they came up with. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't do that, if you don't take that time to say, I didn't like this, it's not acceptable and all of that, and you just let that case close after the 40 days, you kind of shortchange yourself and your own opportunities to actually do something better with that program. Because all you're dealing with is a program manager, right? And that's where people kind of get it confused, where they think, like you just said, it's kind of impersonal. Like you got two people, you got this person, you waiting for the facts. It's even more so with the Semio, because the Semio can't lean toward anybody. And I think me and you had some of these talks, FCA1, where it's like, as a Semio, it's like, I can't lean toward the person that's the complainant, then I can't lean toward the alleged offender. All I could do is take the facts on and we figure out how to resolve it. You know, no matter how much. And I would even tell sellers, like, I'm not allowed to sit here and agree with you, say yes, say that's fucked up. None of that. I just got to take your story and piece this up and piece this up. The only thing that's going to keep me honest, if you don't believe me or believe in me, is that final thing when you signing it, like, hey, this wasn't cool, this wasn't all right. Because that's going to go to my CCS. If you don't do that, then you enabling me to be a bad semio or whatever. Are you enabling your semio to be a bad semio? So, yeah, we do have that stuff. People do need to report. People do need to not make assumptions that everybody know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on, man. They just not doing that. That's one of them things I hear. Don't make no assumptions. Make the report. Force people to do shit. You know, stop thinking people not doing shit. Force them to do shit. Put the ball in their hand. Put the ball in their court. Make sure they doing what they supposed to do. Don't just think they not doing their job and they know what's going on. Is that me? Is that Siri talking to me?
Yep.
Should I keep going?
No. All right. So that's that part. We talked a lot of Navy stuff. Real quick before we let you go, FCA1. Just on us, like real, like your life, like what you got going on. Like I know we got the clothing line and.
Oh yeah, so I'm rebranding my clothing line. So I'm out here. I'm not trying to make a movement like I told you, Seema Color. I'm just trying to make a statement, an individual statement. People rock with it. People rock with it. So it's gonna be. So I'm like I told you, I'm gonna do the whole rose thing because I really like the rose, and it's gonna be respecting others symbolizes equality. That's the acronym for rose. So it's gonna have different types of roles. One of them is gonna be, prime example, the colors of the rainbow. One half, the other half may be like the color of like the flag or the picture of a U.S. flag or a Dominican flag, a Puerto Rican flag. Another one would be like the Navy, like it may be Navy, half of a Navy, you know what I'm saying, color. And a marine color, or whatever the case may be. So it's gonna be different stuff that I got going on. I just applied to work at Planet Fitness. I'm all about the fitness. I got a lot of time on my hand. I'm gonna start back school since I have like four classes away or 4 credits away from my degree. So I'm gonna make the most. I got a year to do all of this. And then as well as my MTS, and then I'm up for Chief. So I'm trying to make Chief my first time up. I don't want to give the Navy no reason to not pick me.
There you go, girl.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Keep Planet Fitness honest, man. You know what I'm saying? I know they got a little bit of flack from us in a couple episodes. Well, from me.
Yeah, from you. Yeah, just from you. I love you. I love you guys, man. I love you guys, man. Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
You guys want to give me some free stuff? Let me know, man.
I got you.
Yeah, now, like you got to come back and sit with us when you get all your stuff together, so we could plug where people could find everything and everything.
Oh
like
yeah,
that. So definitely.
Yeah. I'm gonna hook you guys up. Y'all gonna have a hat. I'm gonna make sure y'all, especially since like you gonna.
Yeah, he needs something, man.
Yeah, man, I need something, man. Hey, but also, we talked about earlier that FCA1 was the first, female and first junior sailor. But hey, if you guys, got a story out there that you guys want to get put out there, just let us know. Hit us up, man. We always trying to talk to senior sailors, junior sailors. It don't matter who you are. If you got a story, anything you want to talk about, give us questions, give us whatever you guys want to talk about, man. That's what we here. That's why it's called Permission to Speak Freely, man. So let us know.
Well, I mean, it's been a couple of people that wanted to talk to us, Damon, that you was like, no, we not going to talk to them. I'm like, hey, such and such want to sit with us. She's like, nah, we ain't doing that.
Oh, my goodness, babe.
Get us in too much trouble.
Oh, my goodness, babe. Hey,
hey,
guys.
I'm glad you ain't say no to me, Sam.
I'm like, hey, FCA1 want to sit with us. He's like, oh, yeah, here we go. Let's do it.
Hey, man. Hey.
Look, then I tell you, I got to text him. I was like, yeah, I got to text him.
Hold on.
Make sure. Yeah, that was make sure.
So if you think you're the person that he's talking about, it's not you guys.
It was you. If you think you're the person that was wanting to sit with us and you ain't sit with us yet and you came talk to me and you ain't sit with us yet, it's him. Go talk to him. Hit him up directly. He
Hey,
ain't want to
man,
sit with your ass.
it was not you, man. It was not you.
He ain't want to sit with your ass. Yep, that's right. You. Listening right now. It was you.
Man, boy,
Well,
I
this
tell
was
you.
fun. So I think I'm gonna have to reactivate my Facebook. So when y'all post this on Facebook, I can like put this on my Facebook because I deactivated my Facebook. But
Oh,
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah,
sure.
I needed a social media break. But I'm gonna have to activate my Facebook to make sure I put this on my page because everybody don't know my story. I think I just got to the point now where I'm able to tell my story. I wasn't before. I just did everything on my own. But now I have that motivation to tell people, and it's crazy because I literally just when I was proctoring the E5 exam or E4 to E5 exam, I went and got a guy from restriction, and I was just talking like I don't even know him. Like, hey, how long you on restriction? You the only one on restriction. He was telling me, and I was like, hey, he was like, man, I don't know, this shit sucks, and I was like, hey, it does, but you're gonna be all right. He was like, you talking like you've been on restriction here, and I told him how many days straight I did on restriction. He was like, oh my god. I was like, so yeah, I've been through it all, and I was like, and I'm still a first class. I was like, so at the end of the day, it's just a little hump in the road. I said it's on you how you want to tackle it.
Yep.
Or whatever. If you want to give up, then that's on you, But at the end of the day, I'm only in competition with myself. So I was like, you always have to, keep that mentality. And I was like, you can push through it if you choose to push through it.
Yeah. It's most definitely that thing that you can relate to. You can relate to them, and you got a story, man. That's the biggest thing. You got a story, So
Yeah,
good stuff.
I thank you for being a guest. I appreciate it. I appreciate you wanting to come sit down and talk to us and get some stuff off. I really do. And then on just the personal aspect, I thank you. And it's like people might not think about this or say this, but I thank you for me being somebody that you even came to talk to. Where I'm from, how I grew up. That's a big decision to make a choice about who the fuck I'm gonna talk to about something. You know what I'm saying? Who I'm gonna get this advice from? It takes a lot. So when you said it earlier, like, I'm sitting back, I'm watching how people interacting with their division, like that's a lot. You gotta pass that test. So I'm happy to be somebody that you were able to have some of those conversations with and continue to have them with. So I appreciate you and I thank you for being on this episode.
Yep, same here. And I'll be talking to you in a few minutes. So.
Yeah. So we got a couple things. We got a couple more things we got to do, and we gonna keep you around for them. It ain't gonna take us too long. But the book, right? The book, Dare to Lead, Brave Work, Tough Conversations, Whole Heart. I feel like with everything we talked about today, when it come to leadership, when it come to senior, junior, all of that stuff, Dare to Lead, Brave Work, Tough Conversations, Whole Hearts by Brene Brown. It's a really good book. I think the biggest thing I took from that book is paint done. Paint done. That means that when you're a leader and you're telling your people to do some shit and then they do it and they don't do it the way that you wanted it done, but you never told them how to do it. And then you get pissed off about that shit.
You just hit them there,
boy. Yeah, that's the lesson right there. Woo. Paint done. So don't just tell somebody what to do if you have a specific way you want it done. Tell them how you want it done if you got a specific way you want it done. Because that's the only way they're going to do it, the way that you want it done. I learned from that lesson. I learned from paint done.
Expect what you inspect. I like that, man.
Yeah. So we got one more thing, right, Damon?
Yeah, man.
All right. So let me introduce this segment. I've never introduced this segment before, right? But let's do it today. We review movies on this podcast, right? We talk about movies. They military related. The way we do this, it could be a random pick or whatever. Or one of us could come up with the idea to pick the movie. Our goal is to get all military movies. Some of them movies could be classics. Some of them movies could be bad, like Battleship, right? So what we normally do is at some point during the week, one of us goes, and it would seem to be we do extensive research and figure out what movie that we would actually review to pair with whatever the podcast episode would be. This week, Damon picked the movie.
So hold on. So first off, I want to add to that and say every movie I picked, I get the same thing back, and it's this. You want to do that movie? Well, why even ask me to do it if that's not you know what I mean? Like, I'll never get like a movie say, oh yeah, that'd probably be a pretty good. And no, it's always like, man, you want to do that one? So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
So I didn't I didn't question the choice. I just went with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna watch this movie, right? So I apologize. The FCA1, everybody out there, the whole entire world, I apologize. But the movie we about to review is Stealth from 2000 and what?
I think 5.
2005, directed by Rob Cohen, starring Josh Lucas, Jessica Biel, we forgive you, and Jamie Foxx, we forgive you. We forgive you for playing in that movie. But I'm not going to start off since Damon picked this movie. How'd you pick it, Damon? Like, what was the big kind of criteria
Google.
you used? Would you bust down? Would you rack and stack?
Hey,
What happened?
I ain't rack and stack shit. I Googled it, and that movie popped up, and I selected it. You know, let me first off, man, let me tell you what I got in the movie, man. Like, the movie was not that good, right? But, you know, I picked the movie, so I wanted to watch the entire movie, and because I picked it, you know, or whatever the case may be, and it wasn't that good. You're right. It was a young Jamie, a young Jessica, and you know, and the other guy. It was a movie that I couldn't follow the storyline too much in the movie, where it was going and what they was trying to do and all that stuff. But one revealing part of the movie was that Jamie Foxx died. I feel a certain type of way about that. You know, Jamie didn't make it through the movie. So, other than that, man, like, you got the biggest and the second biggest thing is you got Jessica Biel being your love interest. Yeah. On the movie, and you keep like turning her down, and right, you know the whole movie. You can tell she likes him, and he just dissing Jessica like that, and so I had a problem with that. But the movie was mostly about, like, you know, this aircraft. You know, they trying to take over freaking pilots, right? So they got this new stealth aircraft out there, but this aircraft is unmanned, but it's thinking on its own.
Like Siri just did. Like Siri just did on the podcast.
Making its own missions, you know what I mean, and all type of shit. So it was crazy, man. But the thing, but the thing about it is is that it went from that of them being unmanned aircraft to her getting shot down in North Korea, which is a whole nother movie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, see, she got shot down. Then the North Korea side, it was a whole nother movie then. You know what I mean? So it was a lot. It was a whole lot of shit going on that I couldn't follow the whole thing that was going on, man. So I give it a strong, man. I'm talking about and probably I'm giving them this because of her, Jessica, and probably because of Jamie. I'm gonna give it a 2. Just because they was in the movie.
Jessica and Jamie.
Yeah. That was it, man. 2.
A 2 out of what? 5?
Yeah, 2 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Right. So it's a military movie, right? With all the people you expect, right? The captain, the dude that play every captain in a bad military movie was the captain, right? The smart civilian at no tech is the same dude that is the smart civilian at no tech in every movie. And I don't think this dude ages, right? The dude with the brown curly hair and the beard and the Captain America shirt, right? He's in every movie, and he the smart dude that knows some tech, right? Mm-hmm. Did the aircraft go bad eventually? Or something? Yeah. Were they fighting? Okay. I'm gonna be straight up about this. I only saw 22 minutes of this fucking movie. Right? I couldn't make it no further. And I apologize to you, Damon, because again, it's the movie you picked. I couldn't watch it through, man. And
I'm
I
used
feel
to
bad
it.
because
I'm
this was
used
one
to
of your
it.
picks.
I'm used to it.
I feel bad about this. All right, let's like this. So my distaste started. I thought Cabin Fever was the worst movie I ever saw. I thought Battleship was the worst military movie I ever saw. This movie just took the reins of both of them shits, right? But my distaste started on the opening scene, the very opening scene. If you don't remember, it was clouds in the sky, and words was coming across the screen like Star Wars style. It looked like this shit was made on like a movie maker app. I've seen better TikTok videos. I've seen better PowerPoints. I've seen better Navy movies, man. So it was clouds, stars, right? The special effects, did you see when those 3 planes came through? Those special effects were garbage, bro.
Yeah. It was a bad movie.
Straight trash. Like the worst shit ever. Jessica Biel was in it. Right? Boom. Good point. Good. But This is back in the time when we was trying to make Josh Lucas a star. This was when they was trying to. He played in like the basketball movie or whatever. It was like a Disney basketball movie about like racism, and he was the coach of the black team or something like that. Glory Road, was it called? Glory Road. So this one we're trying to make Josh Lucas a star, but I guess after Stealth, Hollywood quickly knew that it wasn't in the cards for Josh, right? All right, the camera work, real shaky. Real shaky. It was blurry with like too blurry. Like it was just super crazy. Now, mind you, I made it 22 minutes.
I was say all this happened in 22 minutes.
They went and had a conversation. FCA1. They went and had a conversation with that captain in the tent. Right. There's 3 officers and the captain. Right. She's eating a fucking popsicle, bro. Like in the conversation with the captain, she got the popsicle in her mouth. Jamie Foxx gets up out of his chair. He upset because they got another partner coming, right? He just snapping. She's eating a popsicle, bro, in the conversation with that captain. That shit will never happen, man. Yeah. And I thought special effects were better than this in 05. Yeah. You know, I did think they looked great, and I do got like one redeeming thing. They look really good in their flight suits, right? Now, Josh Lucas went to go talk to her, right, in her stateroom, right? And my wife was like, "Oh man, look at the birthing." I was like, "No, they call staterooms, right?" But Josh Lucas went to go talk to Jessica Biel in the stateroom. You remember what she had hanging up in the stateroom?
Yeah, her. I remember.
What she had hanging up?
Was it either a bra or panties or something hanging up there? Wasn't it?
It was the whole lingerie set. The bra, the panties. Yeah. What is it? What they call it? Leotards or whatever the shit. She had everything hanging up in this damn stateroom. He almost hit his face on her panties or something like that, right? Who the fuck? Why she hang drying clothes on the ship? Yeah. Yeah. So, crazy, you know, I'll give it a 2 as well. I'll give it a 2 out of 100. 2 out of 100. Movie was garbage, trash, and I ain't finished it. I can't believe you watched this whole thing.
Yeah, man. I was doing other things while I was watching, of course, but you know, I wanted to get the I picked the movie, you know. So.
I'm gonna tell you how bad it was. I tried to watch it with Angeline, man. I tried to get my wife to watch it, and I felt like we probably would have got a divorce if we sat through that whole movie, man.
It was rough, man.
Like I was forcing her to watch this shit. She got up. She's like, "No!" it was just the worst thing ever. Yeah. But that was Stealth. I'm never gonna finish it. Don't ever watch it. If you did watch it, you can't get those hours back.
Sorry, Jamie. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, sorry, Jamie. That was a bad one. I'm sure Jamie went whatever 3 months it took him to film that shit back. Yeah. Well, hey, this was it. Another episode of Permission to Speak Freely. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but hopefully this episode came out right. So we'll see, right? That's me. I'm Damo. Peace, respect. I'll see you guys next episode.
Mississippi, stand up.